What's up, everybody? Howdy ho. Happy Scorpio season. We just entered Scorpio today. So that's what we're going to be talking about. I'm coming to you live from Lake Worth Beach, Florida. And it's just going to be me tonight. And we're going to be talking astrology, astro-theology, astro-etymology. It's kind of the niche I'm trying to carve out. Not the first, but might be the first to use the word. Astro-etymology. Not many people are aware that pretty much every single word, every noise that comes out of the human mouth, can be linked to a sign of the zodiac, if not originates with a sign of the zodiac. And a lot of people in the truth sphere, the truther sphere, or religion sphere are they're strangers to astrology. They've never learned it. They've never given it a chance, right? And you can't really blame them. I know a lot of us, when we think of astrology, you think of those chubby, blue-haired ex-girlfriends who worked at Starbucks or whatever that might have, had an astrology app or seen an astrologer or been an astrologer. A lot of you've probably had annoying girlfriends who claimed to be astrologers, right? But tonight we're talking about the real astrology, true astrology. And dare I say, it's the one true word of God. As Kent Hovind says, Adam and Eve did not have a printing press or an ink quill. So God wrote them, the Bible, in the stars. And you'll hear a lot of people looking at the Bible saying, oh, it's just astro-theology. Well, it's the other way around, right? The Bible's based off the stars. But Scorpio is the 8th sign of the zodiac. So there's 12. We're going to be talking about one of them. Why? Because October 23rd is generally the beginning of Scorpio. So Scorpio, we're going to be talking about Halloween. For those who aren't familiar with Scorpio or the zodiac, one of the best ways you can envision Scorpio or get a taste, get a feel for Scorpio is to think about Halloween. Halloween is scorpionic by nature. It is the festival that marks the entry into Scorpio. Scorpio rules the underworld, sex, death, rebirth, the dark of night, the onset of darkness, and short amounts of daylight, right? Daylight's getting shorter at this time of year. It's getting a lot darker. The light is losing the battle. The light starts to lose the battle for daylight, right? But so Scorpio is a time of year, but of course, if you're born under that time of year, that would make you a Scorpio. So I'm trying to keep it midway between people who already know astrology, and I'm sure a lot of people don't know anything about astrology. Some people, but trying to make everyone happy here. Scorpio is a time of year, like all the signs of the zodiac. But if you're born in that time of year, if you're born during that month, or let's just call it a month, 30 days, we'll call it a month. How about that? 12 months of the year, 13 months of the year. Okay? That's one thing I'm going to implement in my lifetime. By the time I'm dead, people will be saying that commonly. Month and month. You got all these people complaining about the zodiac, complaining about our calendar, complaining about how, oh, they took out the divine feminine, the connection to the moon, blah, 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 blah. And they all think, oh, they destroyed our connection. They, the ominous they, right? All we need to fix, 2 words. We call it a sunth and a month. If we fix those two things, nobody will ever have a problem with the calendar again. The calendar we have is wonderful, terrific. Nothing's out of sync. Anybody, any truther who's ever told you that our clocks, time, calendars out of sync is a complete idiot. Ignorant, doofus, never bothered to find out the truth. Would rather choose the more dramatic setting, set a more dramatic stage. But the reality is, if you know your astrology, you're not lost at all. Our calendar is perfectly formatted to an astrological understanding of nature, created by alchemists. If you're not into that stuff, it goes right over your head. It's just a bunch of, music seems complicated if you don't know music, but mathematics, you name a art or science. So, enough ranting. Astrology. Why does it matter? The rulers, the elite, they, the ominous they, whatever you want to call them, they use astrology. They know astrology. And they use it to time their investments, to time their daily activities. That's a whole part of magic. People say, oh, magic, ceremonial magic, oh, this cabal, this cult runs the world. Well, why and when do you think they do what they do? What's the explanation? Just randomly? Just evil with no, these people are smart. The system's put in place. It's all based off of harmony, even if it's evil, frequency, timing the year, right? How would you say it? Punctuating or punctualizing different points in the year with, or saturating different points of the year, right? Offering sacrifices at different times of the year. So you better know your astrology or it's going to get used against you. That's one part of it. Another part of it, well, and J.P. Morgan, richest man in the world when he was alive. Maybe he was neck and neck with John D. Rockefeller. But J.P. Morgan, richest man alive when he was alive. Of course, who J.P. Morgan, bank is named after. Well, he's quoted. I don't know if he ever wrote it down, but he's quoted, and we can just about prove it. Even, a lot of people like to undermine this or say, oh, that's an unsubstantiated quote. Some of the most famous quotes you've ever, associated with famous people, a lot of them are unsubstantiated, right? It's undocumented. They'd commonly say these things. It's as good as if you wrote it down. J.P. Morgan is attributed with saying, millionaires don't use astrology. Billionaires do. Millionaires don't use astrology. Billionaires do. Okay. So a lot of people say he didn't say that. He didn't say that. Show me where he wrote it. He might have written it down. I don't know. I haven't looked that hard. But I do know that J.P. Morgan was one of the few owners, worldwide of one of these rare, maybe one-of-a-kind pocket watches, an astrological pocket watch. You know the old stereotype of the rich man checking his pocket watch, right? Multiple times throughout the day, like compulsively. Checking the pocket watch all the time. You think he's just checking the regular old time? That used to be posted on every street corner on a clock. What do you think the billionaire, J.P. Morgan, Mr. Monopoly guy is checking on his pocket watch? Well, I'll get to the point. J.P. Morgan had a one-of-a-kind pocket watch, astrological pocket watch, meaning it had 5 hands, 5 moving hands on it instead of 2. Right, we're walking around here with 2, and that essentially kind of, it doesn't track it or trace it, but it kind of reflects like the ascendant, like the smaller hands. And the sun, position of the sun in the sky, of course, and the stars coming over the ascendant. Okay, that's 2 hands. We're talking 5 hands, perhaps one for each heavenly body, meaning you can know, and it had constellations in the background. This thing's crazy. Everybody go look it up for yourself. Brandon, can we look this up if you're in here, please? JP Morgan's pocket watch. Let's bring that up, please. So people can see what I mean. Then I'm going to talk about Scorpio, but just for any newcomers, and people are still filing in here, we got to tell people why astrology is important, why you should know it, why it's not just a girly thing, why it's a manly thing. If you didn't know your astrology, you're going into battle, you're a fool. You're unprepared. Right? You're at the mercy of fate. Astrology. Oh, and by the way, man, there's so many angles to approach this from. I'm going to get to Scorpio, but I have to address all, a lot of naysayers and common critiques and things like that. People who don't believe in astrology, that's okay. But you don't get to use any of the words from astrology anymore. So just do me a favor, especially if you're a Christian, think it's all from the devil or something like that. Do us a favor and strike all the astrological words from your vocabulary. Okay? Now, what's going to happen? You're not going to be able to use words like mercenary. Okay, whatever. That's not a big one. Mercenary. Soldier for hire. Mercenary, commerce. Aries, warfighter. Aries, god of war. Mercenaries. Mercenary. That's how every single word is created. Every single word. They'll try and confuse you with the etymology. I'm showing you the atomology. Genesis chapter 1. Let them be for signs and for seasons. When God created the lights in the firmament, the stars, he said, let them be for signs and for seasons. If you don't know your signs, you're not doing a good job of keeping up with that Genesis lifestyle, Genesis standard. So you better know your signs and seasons. Signs and seasons. And the phone lines are open, guys. We got 3 people waiting in here. I'll get to them in a while, but everyone can call in if you have a question, critique, correction, anything like that. But okay, here. Back to the words you can't use. If you're anti-astrology here, words you can't use. Disaster. Maybe nobody wants to say the word disaster, but disaster. What does that word mean? Has anybody ever wondered? Disaster. It's a bad star. Bad stars, a bad arrangement, a bad placement, an opposition between 2 heavenly bodies, something like that. Disaster. Bad stars. Catastrophe. Catastrophe, same thing. Astro. Okay. So, this is why it matters. God gave us a directive to name things. That's one of man's original functions, is to name things. And where did we get this first original language from? Out of thin air? No, from the stars. You know how many letters come from the stars? Okay. Okay, that's enough. 20 minutes of blah, blah, blah. Let's talk about Scorpio. Scorpio is the 8th sign of the zodiac. So, in order, we've got Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo, Virgo, Libra, Scorpio. Okay, and here I'll do this one real quick for anyone who's confused on the calendar, lost in the calendar. Calendar's perfect. The calendar we use today is perfect. Get triggered. I don't care. You're a lot of you going to be triggered by that. I already know. Our calendar's perfect. People say, "Oh, but September, October, that's 7 and 8. Why are they, you know, uh, why are they 9 and 10?" Well, guess what? When we start in Aries, when we start counting in Aries, everything's perfect. Everything syncs up. The months, the months, they're perfect. No correction needed. Well, March, here we're gonna start in order. We're gonna show you how Scorpio, October, is the 8th sign of the zodiac and starts in October. So you'll never be lost, and you can always correct people when they get confused about the calendar. And when you're hearing a big, old, pretentious, ultimate Uno card, I'm a bigger truther than you, I'm complaining about the calendar a little bit more than you are, we're so disconnected. We're so disconnected from our past. Like they changed the calendar. Yeah. I'm so sick of that. I'm so sick of hearing that garbage. Total garbage. But March, number 1. April, May, June, July, August, September. Uh-oh, look at that. We're at 7. October, November, December, 10. Perfect. January for Janus, who rules the sign of the zodiac that January and February is on top of. Aquarius. Janus. It's Uranus, and Uranus rules Aquarius. Aquarius is January. End of January is when Aquarius begins. Then it goes into February. Well, that's January. Janus. Opening the door. The Janus is the god of janitors. Why? Not because they clean up poop and pee, even though that's Uranus, urine, anus. Okay. And I'm going to talk about Uranus too, because Uranus is one of the rulers of Scorpio. Everyone always thinks Scorpio is martial, and it is martial, but it's got 2 more rulerships in there. Pluto, and Pluto and Mars go hand in hand. And then Uranus. Uranus is the unspoken one. Not many people know that. This is controversial, but Uranus exalts in Scorpio. That's controversial. People don't know that. But the janitor, Janus is the god of janitors because janitors hold all the keys. Janitors have all the keys. And who's ever seen the movies where the janitor is the wisest person? The janitor is like a god. Nelson Mandela in I just called him Nelson Mandela. Morgan Freeman in Bruce Almighty. I think it's Bruce Almighty. He's a janitor. And then what about that other movie like Scrubs? Is it called Scrubs? The show that was always on reruns for like 20 years in a row. The janitor is always like the wisdom keeper of the building. The janitor is always, wiser. And like Matt Damon, the genius. Oh, fuck. I gotta do a video on that. Whatever. That's Uranus and Aquarius, but Scorpio. Gotta keep myself on course here. That's another reason I'm always doing shows with other people, is it helps me keep on track, right? Have something to bounce off. I talk way too sideways. Okay. Scorpio. Scorpio is the 8th sign of the zodiac. I just proved that to you, just show that to you. Now everyone's on the same page. Nobody's lost the calendar. You just start in March. Mars rules Aries. first sign of the zodiac. It's where we get March. March is you march to war. Aries is the sign of war. Okay. March, April, May. Aries, Taurus, Gemini. Also, this is in your DNA. The signs of the zodiac make up DNA. A, T, G, C. That's DNA. Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer. A, T, G, C. The first 4 signs of the zodiac. Voila. What else do we got? Oh, here. Thank you, Brandon. I was talking about JP Morgan's pocket watch earlier. This is JP Morgan's pocket watch. You can see on the left side constellations in the back. There's constellations on the background. That's what it's kind of set on top of. And it looks like there's at least 5 hands. At least 5 hands. 4 on the right side. Thanks, Brandon. 4 on the right side, 2 on the left side, at least. So that's an astrological pocket watch. Isn't that crazy? Okay, so Scorpio is the 8th sign of the zodiac. Scorpio, let's just start with the word right off the bat. Oh, and guys, behind the scenes here, Brandon helping us out. It's Brandon's birthday yesterday or the day before. So give him a birthday. Drop a birthday balloon, confetti, whatever, in the chat for Brandon. Let's go, Brandon. Yeah, hit him with a let's go, Brandon. Happy birthday. So, Scorpio, 8th sign of the zodiac. It comes right after Libra. So Libra is the first sign for the second half of the year. It's the 7th sign, Libra. Scorpio is the 8th. So the 7th sign, Libra, is the first sign of fall time. It's the sign that rules sunset, meaning the sun is falling in the micro cycle and the macro cycle, right? Or I guess it's just microcosm, I guess it'd be. Down here, Libra rules the sunset and it rules the fall, which is like the sunset for the greater year, if you could say that. Scorpio is right after that. So it's not just like the beautiful colors of sunset and fall time. That's what links those. And Libra rules the aesthetic. It's very beautiful. Scorpio is right after that. It's when the darkness really sets in. Some could say this is the darkest sign of the zodiac. It's probably a tie between Scorpio and Capricorn in terms of darkness, macabre, horror, gore, brutality. Halloween, right? That's the Halloween theme to Scorpio. Halloween is just a festival of Scorpio. That's all it is. Just like Thanksgiving is just the festival of Sagittarius. Abundance, jovial, no bad vibes on Thanksgiving. 0 bad vibes, right? It's jovial, laughter, abundant. Whole families in town. Conspiracy theories are flying. No one's taking it too seriously, right? Scorpio's different. Scorpio, Halloween, this is very dark, right? Everyone has a good time, and nobody really takes it too seriously in America. But if you think about the components, the theme, it's very dark. It's very brutal. It's lots of gore. People have guts like sprung across their graveyard. It's like, oh, hey, Tom. Hey, Tim. How you doing? Yeah, you have a good one. And they got like a murder scene set up in their front yard. People go overboard. But everyone just treats it like it's a holiday. Why is that? It's because we're collectively in this scorpionic state. That's harmonizing. On another time of year, it would stand out. It would stick out like a sore thumb. It would be offensive. But in Scorpio, with what's going on around us, it makes sense. And collectively, the underworld is kind of reaching a hand out to everyone and saying, you know, enjoy it or experience it, right? Observe it. That's what people, you observe holidays, don't you? You observe holidays, not necessarily celebrate them. So we're all observing the Scorpio flavor: sex, death, rebirth, darkness, right? Scorpio, Halloween's a holiday you pretty much don't celebrate during the day at all, right? 8 o'clock at night, it's like some people haven't even gotten started. So it's a very nighttime holiday. Scorpio is a very nighttime sign of the zodiac. They're a nocturnal sign of the zodiac. The zodiac's split up into positive, negative, like day and dark, light and dark. But okay, Scorpio is a water sign. I'll try and get through all this. Scorpio is a water sign. So there's Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer. Cancer is the first water sign. So there's Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces. Those are the three water signs. So it's the water sign that's in the middle, right? It's a fixed sign of the zodiac too. Fixed. And the fixed signs are Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, Aquarius. Okay? So Scorpio is on an axis with Taurus, meaning Taurus is right opposite Scorpio. And you'll see that Taurus and Scorpio actually share in a lot of qualities. They kind of take the same theme and flip it or mirror it a little bit. So Taurus is all about desire in kind of but less extreme forms, like treats, sweets, your favorite candle, your favorite park, your favorite restaurant. Taurus is like indulgent, but not in an extreme, like vicious way. Whereas, and Taurus is very dependent. They depend on others. They're very attached to other people. Kind of like a herd mentality, like a necklace. Tauruses can be like necklaces too. Like they're attached to people. Well, Scorpio has a lot of that to them too, but they take it to an extreme. Scorpio, their version of desire is, it's like kill, fuck, repeat, right? Feed, not eat. They're not like enjoying their food. They're devouring their food, right? Scorpios are extreme and their desires are extreme. I think most people know that. Scorpio is kind of the one sign in the zodiac that even people who aren't astrologers kind of get a fair grasp on, because they just stick out in that way. They have an edge to them. Scorpios have more of an edge to them than any other sign of the zodiac. They cut through. But let's talk about the word Scorpio. Dark, wet, water, very mysterious, right? Just like Halloween, mystery, extremes, violence. Scorpios are prone to violence, 100%. Almost a rule of thumb with Scorpios, Scorpio ascendant, that they can be vicious and violent. Scorpios, one of the archetypes. Well, we should just talk about the basic elements today. The animal for Scorpio, believe it or not, is not the scorpion. So we'll talk about the symbol or the glyph, the scorpion. The symbol for Scorpio is the scorpion. The animal is the raptor. which would be a hawk, eagle, maybe an owl. That's kind of stretching it, definitely. But most raptors, especially hawk. Okay. And with the phonetics always have fun, always have fun with puns, doing the phonetics like this. But the hawk is an especially sexual animal, as you're going to see, right? We've all been hearing this. Yep, someone beat me to it already. We've all been hearing this hawk tua going around, right? I don't know what her birthday is, but hawk, uncoincidentally, a sexual animal. And whatever hawk tua girl was uttering that night, she was just itching, scratching the surface of this phonetic link, or universal archetype, right? So Scorpio. Scorpio is usually thought of as the scorpion. That's okay. Can't go wrong with that. The scorpion, but the animal, the actual animal associated with Scorpio is the eagle or the hawk or a raptor. So Scorpio, like I said, dark, mysterious, prone to violence, prone to being vicious, but the most talented sign of the zodiac. Talented. Well, what does talent mean? Well, hawks and eagles have talons, don't they? Right? To have an edge, to be obsessive. There's another Scorpio word right there. Scorpios are obsessed. Scorpios are obsessive. That root right there, OBS, obs or abs, that's a very scorpionic root. I'm going to show you this. Scorpio, the sign of Scorpio rules obsession, obsolescence, to be dead, obsolete, done, you're over. To be obsessed, to be obsolete. Obsidian. Brandon, can we pull up some obsidian, please? Obsidian, if you're deaf, if you're deaf and can't talk and you want to get a good grasp on Scorpio, just stare at some obsidian. Crystal gaze. Obsidian. What do they say? It's one of the sharpest things ever. It's the sharpest naturally occurring thing there is. I don't know, but obsidian is very sharp. It splinters, it shards. Also, that's a phonetic root. Scorpio rules defecation, going to the bathroom. There's two signs of the zodiac that rule going to the bathroom: Scorpio and Aquarius. They both have those in common. Oh shit, I gotta take the message off the fucking screen. I'm just talking by myself. No one tells me that the stream already started. Give me one sec. Sorry. Boom. Okay, so shard, like a shard of glass, and to shart your pants. Yeah, that's Scorpio. Okay, really sharp, really sharp. Sharp. If something is sharp, that's a very scorpionic word. To shart. Okay, there's going to be more important content coming with this, but to shard, ruled by Scorpio. To have a shard of glass, ruled by Scorpio. Scorpio is the assassin. I've always got to rewind and fill people in on this, but the zodiac isn't just a measurement of the year, it's a measurement of the body. Okay. The body is written in the stars too. So Aries rules the head, like the ram, to headbutt, to ram into something head first, right? Headstrong, rampage. Aries, the head. Taurus, the neck, the throat, the bull. Okay. Necklaces. Taurus rules necklaces too. Cancer rules the breast. Gemini, the shoulders. Twins, the arms, the twins. Cancer, the breast. Boobs. Breast cancer. Okay. Most popular type of cancer in women. Breast cancer. Cancer rules the breast. Then Leo rules the heart. Leo rules the middle of the torso, the heart. Lion's heart. Brave heart. Lion's heart. Coeur de Lion. Corazon de Leon, right? Heart of the lion in like a million languages. Heart of a lion. Leo. Then you have Virgo, which is the abdomen, right? The stomach, lower abdomen. And then you have Libra, the lower back, kidneys. And then you have Scorpio. Scorpio rules the bikini line. So everything in the bikini line, everything, where the sun doesn't shine. Front door, back door, both ruled by Scorpio. So you'll notice Scorpio rules assassination, assassins, sudden death, murder. Scorpio, the scorpion, embodies assassination and stealth killings, it's cloak and dagger, very Scorpio. So Scorpio, you have assassins. The word, the dirty, hidden meaning in the word assassin. Ass, in. Ass, in. And yeah, some people will say, oh, well, what about the Hashishans? What about the Hashishans? The weed smoking assassin branch up in the mountains. Oh, one and the same. That might be the how. I'm telling you why. And drug use is ruled by Scorpio too. Extreme drug use. So the assassins, assassination. Assassination, nation means birth. Scorpio rules death and birth. So the assassins. Does anybody know when the most famous assassination of all time was? Right on the cusp of Scorpio and Sagittarius. Scorpio rules, sudden death, assassination, plots to kill. Okay? Go away, loser. Bye-bye. Adios. So, Scorpio. Killing, sex, death. Let's run through some Scorpio words so you guys can see what I mean. To score, Scorpio. To score. You guys are going to notice all these SCA words belong to Scorpio. Obsolete. Like I was saying, I'll finish those. Obsolete. Obsessed. Obscene. Scorpio rules obscenity, right? Obscene acts, all of them ruled by Scorpio. Obsolescence, obsession, obscenity, obsidian. There's a couple more. I can't think right now. But those are all good. And then SCA words. SCA. If you think of SCA words, very few, if not, none, are flattering or pleasing or nice. But maybe skill. You could be skilled, but you could be skilled in anything. You could be a skilled serial killer, right? You could be a skilled scammer, right? There's another SCA word. So here you go. Obscure. Thank you. There's another good word. Obscure. Obelisk. Yeah, you could probably throw that in there. So Scorpio rules the sex organs. Yeah. So here, SCA words. Yes, thank you. All SCA words go back to Scorpio, and you'll see they're all either very dark or grimy or lewd or brutal. Score. I'm going to go score. What does that mean? Scorpios are very competitive. To score. Abstain. Yeah, that's a theme. That's a theme for Scorpios, not a rule of abstinence. It's a theme for them, right? They're probably the one that's struggling most with abstinence. But that's a theme for them for sure. And Scorpio rules abstinence. But yeah, good one. So yeah, to score. Yeah, hey, I got lucky last night. Hey, bro, you score? Hey, bro, you were with that chick last night. You score? What's the double meaning there? Scorpio. Competition. Sexuality. I grew up with, I tell this all the time. When I was playing lacrosse growing up in high school, I had a kid on my team who was an All-American, one of the best lacrosse players in the world, in the country for that matter. I mean, it's America pretty much. And he was an All-American, and he played super. He was very quick. Scorpios are very, very quick. When I was growing up, and by the way, I'm born the day right before Scorpio. Some can consider me a Scorpio, but I'm a Sagittarius. November 23rd. Scorpio ends November 22nd. So all the kids in my class, we would always, run and play sports together. There was like 30 kids that I grew up with for like 7 years in a row, right? If not more, 8 years in a row. And from the very beginning, when we're like 5 years old up until we're like 13 years old, we'd always race and play sports, and always with the same group of kids. So I always knew how fast I was in relation to all the other kids in my class. There was only 2 kids who were faster than me when we would play sports, running as fast as we could. There was 2 kids who were faster than me, 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 than me. Yo. We're all better. My bad. We just have a DJ moment or something. Okay. So there's a whoopsies. Masad hit me with this little scramble. Masad hit the scramble button. But okay, Falcon. Whatever. Forgot where I was. Archaics pegged me. Oh my god. So Scorpios. Whatever, doesn't matter. Scorpio. Let's list some SCA words. You guys got to most of them. Score, scour, scourge, scar, scare, scoundrel, scammer, skank, skeet, skunk, scandalous. I already said that. Whatever. Scathing, scalding, right? Scanner. Yeah, here I'll go through you guys. School. Yeah, school can be brutal. Skeptical. Yes. Scorpio's the sign that has the hardest time with conspiracy theories. Yeah. A lot of times they're just not interested. They are very into the extremes of life. And for most people, conspiracy theories is like as extreme as it gets. For Scorpios, that's not enough for them. It's not enough of a, they like murder mystery stuff way more. Like murder mystery, true crime. They have an easier time scratching scratching that itch in other places. But conspiracy theorists, cancers are always conspiracy theorists. Cancers very often conspiracy theorists. The word conspiracy goes back to cancer, meaning let's do it together. Conspiracy, let's conspire. Cancer, together, community, right? But whatever. So Scorpio, we said all these Scorpio words. The ska, right? Disgusting too. You could link that too. Scratch, thank you. Yeah, scar, scratch, skibbity. Skibbity, ska. Ska is pretty fast paced. We're here. These kids I was growing up with, one of the kids who was faster than me was an Aries. Aries, very fast, right out the gate. They're quick, fast, burst of energy, burst of speed, explosion. But then Scorpio is very quick. And what's a ska word? There's a ska word. They make great scouts too. Skittles, yeah, Skittles are extreme, very sour. Skittles, very scorpionic. To skeet, yeah, that's scorpionic for sure. Squid, eight tentacles, squid. I believe Scorpio rules spiders and octopuses and squids due to that number, 8 and 8. Yeah, Scourge. So the only two kids that were faster than me growing up was an Aries and a Scorpio. So Aries was really fast. The Scorpio was very fast. He was more athletic growing up. But that was when I was really young. Then I got older, and then we had a Scorpio on my lacrosse team. Different Scorpio. He was an All-American, right? Very, very good. Very quick. When he was young, he was playing with the older guys, very early on. Oh, scantily clad, scandalous, scanty. Skateboarding, very scorpionic. Skateboarding is very scorpionic. Just boom, getting your skull. That's another Scorpio word, skull. Just wrecking your skull into concrete. Just every time you go out, you're gonna come home bloody. A little bit, pretty much. If you're like doing tricks and stuff. Scorpios, they love to dare. They love to do extremes. Scorpio loves, thousands of years ago, Aries and Scorpio would be on the front lines of the battle. If they weren't on the front lines, Scorpio, they'd be, out committing, doing espionage and cloak and dagger assassinations. Scorpios, very silent too. Scorpios can make like no noise if they want to. I've had Scorpios sneak up on me. Yeah, they're deadly. Scorpios love the night. They can blend into the night. Scythian, yeah, Scotland. Those probably have something to do with Scorpio too. Skag, scamper. Oh yeah, getting Wow, that's a good one. Getting scorpioned is like it's a injury that's that's unique to extreme sports. That's a good connection. But also Scorpio rules the excretory system. Peeing and pooping, Scorpio rules. Okay. So you'll see the word pee is in Scorpio. And this one's really a stretch, but PO or PU, like a bad smell, that's a stretch. But P is in Scorpio. So, shouldn't surprise us. Scorpio is ruled by Mars, primarily. Mars rules Scorpio. And Mars is the god of war. Mars rules Aries, primarily, but it also rules Scorpio. Now, how that is differentiated is that Scorpio, the 8th sign of the zodiac, is not just ruled by Mars, it's also ruled by the octave of Mars, or the evolved version of Mars. You know, we have 7 visible planets. Then there's 3 more that are actually the octaves or evolved versions of Mercury, Mars, Venus. They get kind of leveled up into Uranus is the octave of Mercury. Neptune is the octave of Venus, and Pluto is the octave of Mars. Let me show you how that works. Mars rules war. Okay. Pluto rules genocide. It rules, genocide, slaughter by the thousands. So it's the same qualities, but to an extreme, leveled up on steroids, or complicated, given added dimension. Venus rules music, right? Or Venus rules harmony. Neptune rules music, organized music, symphonies, rock band, psychedelic music. Neptune takes harmony and basic music, takes it to the next degree. Venus rules love, romance. Neptune rules psychology and emotion. Okay? So it kind of takes it to another degree, takes it a layer deeper. Uranus, Mercury rules knowledge, information, knowledge, learning, communication. Uranus takes that to the umpteenth degree. Radio, television, social media, data, right? All this digital stuff. That's all Uranus. So Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, a lot of astrologers don't know what to do with them. I know what to do with them. Okay? Prove me wrong. If you see this a different way, speak up, prove me wrong, call in, whatever. But my favorite astrologers explained it this way. It works. So the 3, because why this matters, they're not visible. Those 3 planets, people don't even call them planets. They debate this. But those 3 are the outermost planets. They're farther out past Saturn. And those 3 don't emit their own light. So they don't emit their own light. You only see them when they pass in front of something else, right? Or some specific times, right? You can see them. But you don't see them night after night. They're not emitting their own light night after night. So astrologers don't know what to do with them. That's what I do with them. And I believe that's the truth. I believe that is the way. I wouldn't say it if I didn't believe it. And the logic is there. The reason is there. So you see Mars turns into Pluto, Mercury turns into Uranus, and Venus turns into Neptune. Tune, Venus rules harmony, Neptune rules tuning, right? The fine tuning. Okay. So Scorpio is not just ruled by Mars. Scorpio is ruled by Pluto. Pluto is extreme. It rules extremes. It rules extremes and extremes. No new background. Deal with it. So Pluto is where we get words like, well, let's just talk about Pluto. Pluto is the underworld. It rules the underworld, and that's where Scorpio gets this flavor. Scorpio is ruled by Mars, so you see that tendency towards athletics and talent and competition and discipline, and more of a sense of violence, right? Just and darkness. This all comes from Pluto. Oh, sorry, I said that wrong. Mars gives Scorpio its sense of competition and its drive and sense of lust, right? Heat, the heat that Mars has. It's hot. It's rather active. It's considered passive, but it's very hot for a water sign, right? It's very fiery for a water sign. Yeah, Scorpios are scandalous for sure. Scream, yeah, another SCO word. Thank you guys. Lots of good comments in here. Lots of good commenters. Well, Pluto gives Scorpio its association with the underworld. That doesn't come from Mars. So if you don't incorporate Pluto into your astrology, you can't explain where Scorpio gets its extreme darkness and association with the underworld. That comes from Pluto. Pluto is the god of the underworld, the planet of the underworld. This is also Hades. Hades, the word hate, you have the word 8 in the side of hate. That does go back to Scorpio. Hades, okay, would also be, what's his name in it? Egyptian, not Set. It's not Osiris. Oh no, it is Sirius. Yeah, Sirius, Osiris, I believe. No, Anubis. It's both. It can be Osiris too, because Sirius, the dog, the black dog, but it's Anubis, dog of the underworld. So Anubis is where we get all these Plutonian dogs of the underworld. Okay, ready for this? Oh, Pluto rules the underworld, mystery, Halloween, right? Well, you're going to see the dogs are associated with that too, especially dark colored dogs. Pluto, right? Pluto, Scooby, Goofy. There's more. Pluto, Scooby, Goofy. Throw some in there, guys. Snoopy, Scooby, Pluto, Goofy. What more are there? And almost all these have an association with the underworld or Pluto. That's one too. But yeah, Pluto. Courage, if you want to stretch it. Courage, the Cowardly Dog. It's like a whole Halloween TV show. The dog. Snoop Dogg. Yeah, Snoop Dogg. Talk about underworld. Is he a Scorpio? Or is he a Cancer? Oh, he's a Libra, but he's right there next to Scorpio. He's October 20th. Says he's October on Wikipedia. October 20th. So he's close. He's close to Scorpio. Close enough. But yeah, Pluto's very dark. So you'll see Pluto, Snoopy, Anubis. And if you want to tie this back in with the Hajishians that I brought up before, the assassins, right? Hajish. Well, we get assassins, like I said, Scorpio, Anubis, ruled by Scorpio, Pluto. Anubis is where we get the word cannabis. Cannabis, the black dog of the underworld, right? To speak, take things seriously, not to take them too seriously. The dog star, Sirius. That's more having to do with Cancer, the sign of Cancer, zodiac sign. But they're linked through the dog archetype. The dog of the underworld. The black dog, right? Led Zeppelin. Hey, hey, mama, right? What's that song? Black dog. Oh, it's called black dog. I forgot. Black dog. The devil, deal with the devil too. The black dog. Hellhounds. Okay. So yeah, Anubis, yeah. Cannabis comes from Anubis, but the can in cannabis definitely comes from Cancer. Yes, that's right. And Cerberus, to serve your master, Cerberus. Yes, that's Scorpio too. Dog of the underworld, Plutonian dog. Pluto, Goofy, Scooby, Snoopy, all Plutonian dog archetypes. So that is Scorpio. That's the dog of the underworld. Pluto coming in. Pluto is where we get words like explode, Plut, right? And all in German, you have words like Blut, the blood, Blut, right? Explode, plumbing, to plu, plumber, right? Going into the toilets, going into what does a plumber do? Goes in under the underworld, penetrates the underworld. Plumber, plu from Pluto, explode. Okay. And there's more words to plug something. Pleasure. Yeah, it's a word too. Pluto. Plow. That's a Plutonian word. Get plowed. Plume. Yep, a plume. Scent with a ska. That's a Scorpio word. So plume. Plutonium. Yes, that's Pluto. Pleroma. Plunder. That's a big Pluto word. Plunder. Yeah, plunder. Grave diggings definitely ruled by Pluto. Plunder. Plastered. Yep. Yeah, you guys are good. Quick. Platonic, not so much, because that's from Plato, the person. But if you're using it to contrast with Plutonic, you can see the difference. Platonic, Plutonic. If you're Platonic friends, you talk and just go home, right? And you hang out and you're friends. If you're Plutonic friends, you wake up chained to, chained in a stranger's house. Like that's Plutonic friends, Plutonic, or you wake up, dead, Plutonic. So yeah, lots of plumber, Pluto, plumber. Remember, I said Janus rules janitors. Guys, there is metaphysical value in all these occupations. To be a janitor is not lowly. In terms of this cosmology, Janus is very far out. So you could say high up on the hierarchy. Janitors hold all the keys. Plumbers penetrate the underworld, just like Freemasonry. What's Freemasonry? Freemasonry is just a bunch of guys who are using, vocabulary and symbolism and metaphors for building masonry with a spade and a mortar and building things. They're not actually building things. It's theoretical, right? It's made up. It's symbolic. One sec. So yes, Freemasonry, you're using one occupation, even though they don't even share that occupation. They're using one occupation to represent all these philosophical truths, all these, alchemical secrets, all these. You're using everyday components of this occupation of being a stonemason, a bricklayer, and you're swapping meanings. You're assigning meanings. You're revealing symbolism through the act of doing the thing that the laborer does, except the laborer doesn't have any of this attached allegory or sympathetic magic, woven into it. Well, if we can weave that back into occupations like janitors and plumbers. By the way, this is what the guilds used to be. Now we have like unions where it's just all about money and being a whiny communist. Well, back then they had guilds, and the guilds preserved this stuff. Each occupation, plumber, janitor, valet, whatever, uh, had a guild. And that guild preserved and passed down the added on symbolisms. The metaphysical, stencil would come down on that occupation, and you'd start to see it in a whole nother light. That's plumbing holds that. Plumbing holds the keys of the underworld, right? By plumbing, you're kind of doing what the Freemason does. You're laying bricks theoretically, or you're doing it practically, and you're using that to place yourself in the theoretical, right? You can do that with plumbing, and that's just what I'm trying to say here is plumbers should study the underworld. Plumbers should study the death cycle, reincarnation, things like that. They are better tuned to those things. Okay, that's all I'm trying to say. Scorpios will make good plumbers, and plumbers make great occultists, conspiracy theorists too. I have a shout out to Kelly. Shout out to my boy Kelly. Plumber hooked me up a week or two ago. Shout out to him. But okay, here we got a bunch of callers in here. We'll take some callers for the time being, and then we'll get back to talking Scorpio. These guys have been patient. Yo, Moringa Man, what's up, Alex? How you doing?
Fantastic, man. Woo! I think I've been in the back room here for like an hour, and I know I was last with you, man. Come on, but it's all good. This is one of my favorite topics, man. You just light up when you're sharing all this knowledge and insight. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, man. What do you think about Scorpio?
What do you mean, like astrologically, or
you ever got to know Scorpio closely?
Oh yeah, man. It's funny you say that. I think I dated one before, and she was covered in tattoos. And
yes.
What's funny is right after or right before her was the only astrologist I ever dated. So that was actually kind of funny. And back then I didn't really appreciate it like I do now. And you've been a big part of that for sure. Most people wouldn't think coming to Old World, Florida, they're going to get the deep dive into astrology.
Oh yeah. Well, it's a big component. The fathers of Florida were into astrology. Henry Flagler. Who else? There's more people on that list, but
I wonder if Henry Plant was. I wonder if he was.
Yeah, Henry Plant. I don't know, but actually, I think he was. I believe he was a Scorpio, and all of downtown Tampa Bay, like 100 years ago, was stainless steel. So here's a good one, guys. Scorpio rules stainless steel because Aries rules iron, Aries, Ira, iron, Aries, right? Iron becomes steel, right? If you, ow. You just get a ding?
I did get a little ding. Sorry about that.
Jesus, fucking. Just wiped my memory of that thing.
Here, I'll try to mute my notification.
No, it's okay. You're all good. Stainless steel, yeah, good for cooking, guys. Stainless steel is good. Good material to use, to hold on to a lot if you have to hold on to metal. Stainless steel is good. And iron ruled by Aries, stainless steel ruled by Scorpio. So there you go. And a lot of knives and blades are made out of stainless steel, of course. Steel in general. To steal, right? What's the double meaning between that word? The phonetic link between steel, the metal, and to steal something? Scorpio. You know, running around in the dark, up to no good. Scorpio rules vice. Most of the vices Scorpio rules. Scorpios, I've probably been dogging on them a little bit too much. Scorpio is the sexiest sign of the zodiac. Scorpio rules sex. They're very open about sex. Not always, but typically very open about it. They don't get why other people are so touchy about sex. Scorpios, like to think they're the most talented, most gifted downstairs. That's definitely rumored. But Scorpios. Well, here, Alex.
Most
go ahead.
Right?
Yeah, most promiscuous sign of the zodiac. Libra is the most libertine. Scorpio is the most promiscuous, though. It's Aries is up there. Sagittarius is up there too. Sagittarius is definitely up there for promiscuity, but Scorpio's got to be number one. It is like a cliche. It's definitely a cliche. It's definitely over exaggerated. It's kind of, most people focus on the sex thing. I like to focus on the underworld thing. But yeah, Scorpio rules sex too. Halloween. Just look at Halloween. It's death, a lot of gore, a lot of scaring, and a lot of sex, right? Most girls, when Halloween comes around, most girls are thinking, how sexy can I look? What's the cutest outfit I can wear? And not necessarily scary, more sexy. So skimpy. Sex and death. Skimpy, yeah. Skanky. Total Scorpio. But do you like horror movies?
Yeah, here and there. I mean, one of my good friends, he's really into like the possession movies, So when you say horror, some people...
Jesus.
It's funny, that's my buddy Egan there. You remember Egan. I turned it on my phone, but I'm on my MacBook, so it happens.
Oh, that's okay.
But you get what I'm saying, man, because when I dated this fundamentalist
all right, I can't do that. You gotta go. You have a good night, Moringa man. Peace. You have a good night. Whew. All right, Moy Freestyle Life. I'm gonna bring you in here. Say something about Scorpios.
Yo, what's up, man?
What's up, Moy Freestyle Life?
Good, no complaints. Scorpios rock, man. I think you hit the nail on the head, and it made me think about Scorpios I've dated, and they were always that stereotype seems to be true. But my question was, how like Geminis get the whole bipolar thing? I always found that like Scorpios I interact with have more of that bipolar thing, like the two personalities.
Well, it can definitely come across that way because they have extremes. So Virgo is a little bit like this too, where Virgo doesn't have much of a middle ground. Scorpios are either going with the flow or they hate something. Scorpios love to hate things. The word hate, eight sign of the zodiac. But yeah, they can be, when they're dark, when they're down, it's the darkest and the downest.
I was surprised you said that, because usually Taurus We always get looked upon as being pretty dark. So when you said that, I was like, ah, good.
Taurus. Oh, I
Yeah,
don't
like
know.
having a dark side.
I don't know. Taurus to me, I don't see any dark side. Taurus to me has always been they're very cheery. Taurus and Libra are the signs that are easiest to get along with. They're the most. They love to be social and please people, and they like to be pleasant. That's the thread between them two. They like to be pleasant. Taurus is the most pleasant sign of the zodiac. They are comforting. They're comfortable. Taurus is they're the densest sign. They're the densest sign of the zodiac, but they are very pleasant. They're flowery. They're polite. Uh, Tauruses, they can be messy though. Tauruses can be messy, but I don't know if I've ever seen them as dark. Scorpio holds all the darkness between the two of them, and Taurus is like springtime. It's like the light. The light's still increasing, and very flowery, good smells, restaurants. A lot of happy activity, cheerful, comfortable.
So would you say that because you were saying earlier um, about Scorpios being like kind of into the underworld and into esoterics?
Yeah.
Is that just overall, or you're just talking about this specific community, like people who watch your channel?
Yeah, overall, I think well, it's hard to say. I'm saying Scorpios in general don't the Scorpios I know in life that I grew up with tend to just not be that interested in conspiracy theories. And my reasoning for that was because they find that excitement and that drama and that like sense of, ooh, the world's out to get me. I could die any day. And they find that in other ways. And they
Ah, okay.
scratch that itch in other areas of life that most people
I
don't.
definitely agree with that. The two Scorpios I had long term relationship with that I can remember, like they were very much into true crime, and one of them
Yeah.
actually had written letters to some serial killer.
Jesus.
Yeah,
Yeah. It's a
hypistrophilia.
it's a cliche. So there are exceptions to the rule, but like I have friends who are conspiracy theorists and truthers and stuff. But yeah, also Alex called in before. Tattoos is a big thing with Scorpios. Scorpio is the sign that's most likely to be tattooed. And Scorpios very often have scorpion tattoos.
Facts.
Tauruses very often have bull tattoos. And with both those signs, they very often get them before they ever even know their zodiac sign. Taurus having a bull tattoo or a cow's head tattoo. And then Scorpio's getting Scorpio tattoos or eagle or hawk tattoos. But
So would you say, I don't know, like maybe if you can like explain more about like what a Scorpio man, like the characteristics for a man would be, but would you say that like for a woman it's kind of like Elvira, like that kind of essence?
what's the word you used at the end?
Elvira, around Halloween, she used to come on TV and she was like Mistress of the Dark.
Yeah, let me look up.
Like she's like a rock and roll like horror chick. I mean, I
Yeah,
think she was a
I'm not
vampire.
I'm not familiar with her, but here, I'll give you two. We'll flip through some celebrities here. We're gonna flip through some celebrities. Here, give me one sec. Hey, Moy Freestyle Life. I'm gonna flip my screen around here. Appreciate you calling in though. I'm gonna answer that. I'm gonna get to that. I'm gonna talk about men and women, the differences, Scorpios, and some celebrities too. But appreciate you calling in, man.
Appreciate you. Thanks.
Have a good night. All right, here, let me switch this around. Let's look at some. So, Moy Freestyle Life brought up differences between Scorpio men, Scorpio women, if there's any at all, how they represent themselves. And here's what I would say. The best way to do this is to go through, the list of celebrities. Let's see who we got. Actors. This is just actors. What's up, guys? Sorry. Sorry, I kicked myself from the chat. My bad. Here. We're looking at Scorpio actors. When I think of Scorpio men, I think of two people. Leonardo DiCaprio and Ryan Reynolds. It's tough. But them two. When I think of Scorpio women, I think of Bjork. Okay? Bjork. And I'd have to look for my second choice. But Bjork is like the most Scorpio there's ever been. Okay? She's weird. She's obsessive. People are obsessed with her. She's absurd. She can be obscene. She can be lewd. I don't like Bjork at all. I hate Bjork. Can't stand Bjork. Okay? But I think she's, between you and me, I think she's retarded. But Bjork is, she's extreme. She's almost like mocking music. She's like, she makes, it's hard to say. It's hard to quantify. But Bjork sucks. And Bjork is a Scorpio. I think she's actually a triple Scorpio. But here, let's just look at this list of celebrities, male celebrities. Ryan Reynolds, very lewd. Scorpios are very quick. You don't want to get in an argument with a Scorpio. They're very quick. They can be very catty. They can be they seize every word that comes out of your mouth is accounted for. Nothing gets by them. They're like a hawk. They're like an owl, like a raptor, falcon. They can, fly down, soar down into a topic very quickly, very fast. They can go up, down. Very good at debating. Very good at, they're clever, right? Clever. Yep. They're very sharp. Very, very sharp. Scorpios are. And they're talented. Like I said, talent. They can be blessed with talent. They don't have to work as hard as other people do for the same level of talent. So Leo can kind of be like that too. But Scorpio and Leo get a lot more recognition than others, right? And with actors and actresses, for as much as Leo represents like performing and acting and entertaining, Scorpio is kind of the opposite. But with those things being unequal, you see Scorpio having as many A-list celebrities, if not more A-list celebrities, than Leo, which is very surprising, which tells us, and it shows us, and it's obvious, Scorpios are charming. Scorpios are very captivating. They seize people. They seize them with their eyes. They have a piercing glare. They have a deep, deep glare. Scorpios are deep people, very deep. Scorpio is my favorite sign of the zodiac. I should have said that. At the beginning. Scorpio is my favorite sign of the zodiac because it's the deepest. And I think they have the most depth to them. Like, no two Scorpios are necessarily the same. And the other sign that's like that is Pisces. They're both water signs, and they both have a rulership with Pluto. So Scorpios being very sharp, having an edge to them, being very charming, you'll find that male Scorpios are frequently they're frequently the source of people's lust, the item of people's lust, the item of people's attraction, item of people's obsession. Scorpios are often the celebrities that are plastered up on people's walls. And so, yeah, you're going to see that these people are very often sex icons, right? They're considered players, right? Hustlers. They're ladies' men. They do well for themselves, right? Whether it's romance or lust, Scorpios. Here's another thing: Scorpios can almost always get what they put their mind to. Scorpios are obsessed. They will go to the ends of the earth to achieve what they set their sights on. They're like Sagittarius, like that. They have a very long, just like the bow, the Sagittarius, long distance aiming, precision. Scorpio, which is right next door, shares in a lot of those attributes. The falcon can see. The falcon is what? The fastest animal. So it's soaring at like what? 150, 200 miles an hour, more than that, something. Zoom in through the sky. Not only are they fast, they can see their prey like a mile away. They can see their prey. They're up in the sky. They can see them down on the ground from that far away. Pinpoint accuracy. They can dive in and swoop. Pounce. An osprey, too. Look at ospreys. We have so much fun watching those in Florida. They dive into the water very dramatically, very often. That's a Scorpio, right? To scour, right? They can look. But okay. So they have this captivating glare, or gaze. They have this glaring, they have depth in their eyes. And if you'd say like a soldier who's killed a lot of people has a 1,000-yard stare, that would be ruled by Scorpio too, or who's seen a lot of war, right? So, and Scorpios are passionate, yeah, very, very passionate, obsessed with people, obsessed with, their goals. Scorpios are very often holics. So you're not always alcoholic. That's usually Libra, actually. Libra tends to be the drinker. Virgo, Libra, Cancer, Pisces, big drinker signs. Scorpio too, Pisces. But I forgot what I was going to say. My bad. Well, here, let's look through these celebrities. Ryan Reynolds, very Scorpionic. Deadpool is like, it's two Scorpionic words. You're dead, a pool of water, depth. Deadpool, okay? Covering the face. He's almost like a Spider-Man, he's like a knockoff Spider-Man or something, but very lewd. I don't know anything about Deadpool or Marvel. I don't know if he's Marvel or whatever superhero club he's a part of. But Ryan Reynolds is very lewd. He does best in roles where he's very quick, lewd, sharp, quick-witted. That is Ryan Reynolds to a T. And you're going to see that even though him and Ryan Gosling, well, look at the name, same name. Even though him and Ryan Gosling are very similar, even though they're very different, they have that in common. I'd say Ryan Reynolds is a little wittier, more going on up here than Ryan Reynolds, but, And I don't know anything about these guys. Like, I only know a couple of these guys. I'm not the biggest celebrity guy, but with astrology, it always helps. We all know these people. We all know their tendencies, no matter what role they're playing. So Ryan Reynolds, big time Scorpio. You know, ladies tend to like that guy. But Leonardo DiCaprio, especially. Now we're going to start talking about the appearance here. Scorpios are famous, notable for their dark features. Very often have dark features. Ryan Reynolds, he's like a, blondish, but a definitely darker. Brown, but darker. Darker eyes. Darker facial hair, darker clothes, darker everything. You'll notice they have darker features. Even if they're blonde, they just have a darker feel to them, darker tinge. The exception to this, of course, would be Owen Wilson. He's a total Scorpio too, but he's charming. He's a ladies' man. Another one with the Scorpio. Scorpios have the beak. Scorpio has the the bird's beak, a hawk nose, right? Hawk nosed. So I'm second day of Scorpio. I've got a little bit of that. But yeah, Scorpios can have some real crooked noses, can have some big nose, prominent nose for sure. Prominent nose. And aquiline nose too. Yep. Aquariuses and Scorpios tend to have that. Scorpio. Owen Wilson, yep, he's a Scorpio, I believe. Look him up. Yeah, he's a Scorpio. Wow. Wow. Fuck. Wow. Yeah. Wow. I used to be able to do a good Owen Wilson. They call me Owen Vrilson, actually, here. Give me a sec. Give me a sec on this one. Boom, look at that. Owen Vrilson in the house. Owen Vrilson in the house. I just changed my name. So, Ryan Reynolds. Yeah, big time ladies' man, charmer, but also very lewd, dirty mouth. Just, swears like a sailor. Dirty mouth. Leonardo DiCaprio. Here, I'm kind of blocking him. Leonardo DiCaprio is a Scorpio. I think he's 11/11. I could be wrong, but right around there. 11/11 is a Scorpio. Birthday, by the way. So Leonardo DiCaprio. Here, something that you guys will notice about Scorpios. Okay, Scorpios, even if they're white, especially if they're white, European, will have monolid eyes. It's very, very common for Scorpio men and Scorpio women to have monolid eyes, meaning you don't see the separation between the eyelid and the under eye socket area. It's just like one fold of skin. Or drooping eyes, eye bags, drooping eyes. It's very common for Scorpios to have their eyes obscured. Yeah, squinting. Squinting. It's very common for That's another thing with Taurus and Scorpio being opposite each other. Very often they're squinting. My girlfriend's a Taurus. She's very squinty too. Scorpios can be very squinty, but it's not the same type of like high squint that Taurus has. It's more of a dark night, like the eyes are hidden, obscured. You'll see with you'll see what I mean there. Do you guys see what I mean with Leonardo DiCaprio? He's not Asian. Why are his eyes Asian? A lot of Scorpios have this, where, right? You guys see this? And Ryan Reynolds has something very similar. You don't see the eyelid. It's very common with them. Even this guy right here, not as much. But you see the skin under the eye socket takes the place of the eyelid. So Ryan Gosling does not have that. He doesn't have that feature, but he has darker features. Even for like a blonder guy with blue eyes, he's a little bit darker, greasier, look to him, kind of more nocturnal look. Of course, this guy, he's in that show that every girl on earth fucking faps himself to sleep at night with. The fucking what is it called? What is it called? You know how many girls walk into the bookstore thinking they're like, "Ooh, it's like that show up in here." We have girls walk in the bookstore and make you jokes. That's what you. The show, you, and Gossip Girl. Yes, Gossip Girl. This guy right here, Penn Badgley, looks like whatever, but very scorpionic. That role that he plays in the bookstore show, where he's like, it's like Dexter, but he works at a bookstore. He's like killing, he's like a serial killer. You, very scorpionic. So, yeah, Matthew McConaughey is a Scorpio too. Yeah, Penn Badgley. This guy has the same thing with the eyelids. The eyelids struggle to be perceived. The eyelids are so obscured. You guys see this in him too? This is one of the easiest ways you can tell a Scorpio. You can see the either drooping eyes, either a drooping, eye socket or eye bag, but some obscurity to the eye. Especially like monolid eyes. It gives the effect of monolid eyes, which Asian people have. Matthew McConaughey, if you've seen him recently, his eyes are starting to, they call them, what's it called? There's a word for it. Hooded eyes. Hooded eyes. Everyone go look up hooded eyes. Not all of these people have monolid eyes, but almost every Scorpio man ends up getting hooded eyes. Almost every single one. And if they don't have hooded eyes on top, like this, they'll have the line. I get this sometimes. A darker line. Like this. They always have something that marks the eyes with a darker or deeper set. Yeah, Predator. Almost Predator style. But yeah, have a look. Have a look. This guy, man. You want to prove it. You want to prove this look. Look at him. What this guy, the Family Guy. Family Guy. Name. I forget his name. It should say there. Seth MacFarlane. Look at those eyes. If you don't believe in astrology, go have a look at Ryan Reynolds. Don't really see it on him, but you can tell he's got squinty eyes for a white guy. Leonardo DiCaprio, and then compare those eyes with Josh Peck. He's got him too. Compare that with Seth MacFarlane. Go look at him. Go look at him. Owen Wilson, very, very Scorpio. Very Scorpio. Very chill, hustler. Very chill, smooth, collected, but also, this beep's got game, man. My cracker's got game. He's right. He was like the heartthrob of all our moms in like the 2000s. Let's plug my computer in here one sec. David Schwimmer, less game, less riz, a little bit more of the skittish type. Scorpio, real skittish, to be skittish too. Joaquin Phoenix, very scorpionic. Joaquin Phoenix. He's always doing scorpionic roles. Obsession. Matt Smith, he's got the eyes a little bit too. Not so much the monolid, but how deep set his eyes are. My eyes are really deep set too. Very deep in there under the brow. I mean, look at that. Very deep set. Ethan Hawke. That's his last name, so it's not that. Here, he's got the hooded eyes too. The hooded eyes is where it comes down on the side a little bit more. Where it's not the whole eye, it's on the side a little bit. He's got hooded. Adam Driver's got hooded eyes too. He's close to Sagittarius though, so he's got more of a horse face. You want to see what hooded eyes look like too? It's not an ugly thing. Just so people know, it's not an ugly thing. It's women tend to like it seems, but this guy's got the same thing, the hooded eyes. You can't even see his eyelid. There's no eyelid. It's just the eye socket, the hooded eyes. Okay. So these are all actors. You can see the look. That's all I'm trying to show you guys is the look. You want to know who else has it? Raise your hand if you're seeing this look. Okay? If you're seeing the look in the eye, this is just one of the looks. The hooded eye. Yeah, so Adam Devine's got it too. I grew up with him. Not with him, grew up watching him. Love his stuff. All right, those are all actors. Let's look at musicians. This is men and women. Remember I said Bjork was a Scorpio? Okay. Lord is like Bjork 2.0. Dark, super young, super famous at a young age. And dark, lots of eye makeup, very weird decisions, but she's actually like, they both have this very little girlness to them, like they're little girls, but they're they put themselves in a lot of dark, like aesthetic. Yeah, Katy Perry. Yeah, we're gonna go through the whole list. SZA, Katy Perry, Dark Horse. Katy Perry is very scorpionic. I Kissed a Girl, right? SZA, I don't know who that is. I would imagine she's scorpionic, like a rapper or something. RZA's a rapper, so SZA's probably a rapper too. Frank Ocean. Yeah, he's a Scorpio, all right. He's a Scorpio, all right. They're passionate, but also Scorpios. known to go gay. Scorpios will go gay like that. If they're getting more action on that side of the table, they'll go sit over on that side of the table. They're Scorpio, I'm only teasing here, but Frank Ocean's famous for that. Willow Smith, she sucks. Illuminati, homunculus, child. Talk about ugly. Talk about fucking take this pile of slop back to whatever fucking planet she came from, man. Ugh. Ugh. She looks like a Scorpio, though. She looks like a Scorpio, too. Another thing with the Scorpios, you'll see darkness around the eyes. So either they look like they're wearing eyeliner or they're, you know, there's a darkness, a blackness around the eyes. Let's go back. Weird Al. I don't know how. Keith Urban, very scorpionic too. Jeff Buckley, very scorpionic. He drowned, I think. Oliver Sykes, covered head to toe in tattoos. Very scorpionic. Who else we got? Dude, that's it. I can't even find the fucking... Here we go. This is a more comprehensive list. Leonardo DiCaprio, Katy Perry, Bill Gates. Yeah, you want to talk about Scorpio? Being Plutonian, obsessed with viruses and vaccine Asian. Okay. Bill Gates, very scorpionic, obsessed with death, obsessed with, you know, also the words organic, orgasm, orgone. Those all have to do with Scorpio too. So to be anti-organic, you know, natural too. Natural and organic are both Scorpio words, by the way. Natural, nat means to be born, you know, nativity, natal chart. Nation, you know, where you're born. And then organic, orgasm, organism. That's Scorpio too. So to care, you know, to care about what you eat, I guess you could say is a Scorpio thing, or to live a holistic lifestyle. Whole, that's another Scorpio word. Holy, holistic, sacred, sacrum. These are all Scorpio words. Sacred, sacrifice, things like that. Oh, here's a big Scorpio too. Big time Scorpio. If we're talking kill lists, if we're talking a person who has a kill list, they're probably a Scorpio. And that's the case with Hillary Clinton. Very, very Hillary, hilarious, right? Hilarious. Hillary. Very scorpionic. October 26th. What's her name? Jodie Foster and Julia Roberts, Scorpios. Drake, super Scorpio. That brings us to what's his face? What's that guy's name? Diddy. P. Diddy's a Scorpio too. All that, yeah. Scorpios takes a lot to satisfy a Scorpio. Scorpios are extreme. Kendall Jenner, you see this too. Kendall Jenner has dark features. I hope people start seeing what I mean with this. Like, I'm not talking about the color of their skin. It's almost like you kind of have to not even look at them and just like envision them in your eye, in your mind's eye. Do you imagine like bright light coming off them, or do you see more of a black hole energy? Scorpios very often have this black hole, dark energy. Kendall Jenner. Kendall. She has dark features, like her eyebrows, dark. Her eye color, dark. Ryan Gosling, we went over. Joe Biden. Yeah, that's another one. I believe Joe Biden is a Scorpio. He is. And I think Kamala is right on the cusp. I think she's a Libra Scorpio cusp. But she's probably got a kill list too. Scorpios will screw their way to the top too. Score, right? They can. Grace Kelly, Ryan Reynolds, Elaine Dillon, Charles Manson, total Scorpio. Whether he did it or not, whatever. Whether he's a cool guy or not. Charles Manson. Joaquin Phoenix, very Scorpionic. Bjork. Just there, the top 10 people. If you don't believe in astrology, go look at the top 10 of most searched Scorpios on Astro-Theme. Okay. Bjork. Demi Moore, very dark features. Emma Stone, ugh. She's ugly. She got the fucking lip. She got the fucking lisp on top of it. She got the fucking speech impediment. Jesus Christ. Her parents must have been fucking like Rosemary's Baby type pregnancy going on. Like, man, there's some bad cards getting dealt. She's a member of the tribe, I believe. Emma Stone, Precious Stones. Anne Hathaway. Here, guys, this is just the top like 15. This is just the order of most famous celebrities on Astro-Theme. Go look at the top 10 and tell me you're not seeing this dark thread. Even with white people, they have dark hair, dark eyes. Anne Hathaway, Catwoman, you know, this black leather. She does well in those type of roles. Anne Hathaway. I don't know who this is. I don't know who this is, but I know that they don't use toilet paper. I know that they, you wouldn't want to get stuck in their bathroom. Pablo Picasso, yeah, Scorpionic. I always felt he was pretty not that talented. Just me. Charles III, man. Talk about another kill list, probably. I don't know who that is. Winona Ryder. Look at the darkness on the features here. You guys have to see it by now. She's almost like very similar to Anne Hathaway in that picture. Not familiar with these guys. Kris Jenner. Wow. Yeah, they're probably, definitely. Scorpios very often were conceived under like Rosemary's Baby type conditions, you know, like like meeting of the devils, you know, meeting of the demons. But Kris Jenner is a Scorpio. And Kendall Jenner's a Scorpio. Shouldn't surprise us. Matthew McConaughey, very Scorpio. He's squinting. His eyes are hooded now. His book sucks. Gordon Ramsay, very Scorpionic. If you want to see like the heat, the anger, like the passion coming off of Scorpio, Gordon Ramsay. Total Scorpio. But here we got people who've been sitting in here waiting for a long time, and I don't know what to talk about with the callers, but I'll bring them in. Bring in some of the callers since I've been waiting for so long. Appreciate you guys. Tim the Enchanter, you have to plug your device in. Yeah, there you go.
Yo, what's up? Owen Vrilson. How you doing, man?
What's up, Tim? I'm doing good. How are you?
Hey, I would like to forward the case against Pluto, if that's cool, because it's kind of a pet peeve of mine. I don't like it
Go
in
for it.
astrology.
Go
So
for it.
I checked with AI because I was always like, how many people have even seen Pluto with their own eyes through a telescope? And AI estimates that it's like fewer than 1,000 people.
Okay.
So, in my estimation, if you're using Pluto in your astrology, you're necessarily getting your astrology from NASA, which, based on how we view the world, is a little bit dangerous in my opinion. And
Okay.
Aleister Crowley, in a book that you recommended, actually, The General Principles of Astrology, describes Scorpio as this, if I may.
Right.
He says, though Scorpio is a watery sign, it is water at its greatest strength. The incompressibility of water, its unconquerable determination to find its own level, are qualities that express Mars at his strongest. So I think there's a strong case, and like there's real beautiful harmony when you just focus on the inner 7 planets. And I know you're kind of familiar with that, but there's harmony with like how the planets, the classical rulership is with Aries and Scorpio being under Mars, and how it's all just perfectly in line from Leo and Cancer all the way to Capricorn and Aquarius for Saturn. It's like very what's that word? Symmetrical. Very symmetrical. Whereas with Pluto, Uranus, and Neptune, the symmetry is lost.
I don't see how it's lost. I see divine harmony as well. The water signs all have the most rulerships. That's one way to tackle this. The water signs have the most rulerships. Cancer, you have Moon, Jupiter, Neptune, and some would even throw another planet in there. I'm blanking on. And then you move to Scorpio. You also have over 3 rulerships or 3 planets involved. Mars, yes, that's obvious, of course. And I'd pose this to you, but there's more I want to talk about is why would Mars, if Mars is the sole ruler of Scorpio, there's little, if anything, to differentiate it from Mars. I mean, from Aries. Whereas with Pluto, you see the full picture. I mean, I want to see where you're coming from here, but I think you're ignoring the biggest piece is where does Scorpio get the underworld? It's not from Mars. I think Crowley, he was right with the finding level, and Mars being, Libra being right before Scorpio could feed into what you're saying. But where do you get the Halloween? Where do you get the underworld? Where do you get the Scooby-Doo? Where do you get that Anubis exploration of the underworld? If Pluto is the only sign where we have an overt connection, well, I guess you're saying Pluto doesn't come in at all. But if Pisces is the other sign of the zodiac associated with Pluto, and you see the commonality between them is depth, the 2 deepest signs of the zodiac, Scorpio, Pisces, ruled by Pluto. Scorpio rules death in terms of sudden death, the end, sudden end. Pisces rules, the Pluto comes through Pisces in the end of a cycle, natural death, the full completion. And the depths here, the association with plumbing being true for Scorpio and Pisces, I think you're ignoring a fair amount in hopes of just saying, well, 7's simpler or 7 is more obvious. Yes, the 7 planets are different from the other 3. And I think a valid argument from your corner would be, well, if you're including Pluto, what about the other lesser bodies? They would have to be held to a higher standard if you're going to hold Pluto to this high, set it to a high position like a planet. So that's a valid argument against Pluto, would be you'd have to throw in the other lesser planets. But have you ever seen Sumerian? Oh, I've been asking you a lot of questions. I'm sorry. Have you ever seen the Sumerian Zechariah Stitchin? He uses this for the 12th planet. The 12th planet. I don't think the 12th planet, I don't think any of them are Earth. Zechariah Stitchin thinks one of the 12 planets are Earth. If you take away Earth, and you have to find, Sun, Moon, Mars, you get the 7 plus 5. You could make a case for, and again, I'd point to the holes in the other parts of the zodiac. Virgo, what are the other rulers of Virgo? What are the other rulers of Sagittarius? I expect we just might, that could be Lilith, Ceres, Pallas, any of these. We're still learning a lot about these. You're right that they don't emit their own light. That doesn't mean they have anything. That doesn't mean they don't have anything to offer. I believe that they're unique to human affairs, meaning the areas of human life that they govern over are only activated when humanity achieves perception of those bodies through the invention of the telescope, through the invention of higher arts and sciences. You've entered a realm that is unique to human activity. I don't think Pluto, Neptune, Uranus have much to do with animal or plant life here on Earth. It is more obscure by nature. So it's a good point. I'd love to debate that. But I think you're wrong.
Oh, sorry, go ahead. Oh no, it's all good, man, and I love that because there are a few people I can speak with this about, but we have only had 100 years of Pluto symbolism and an interpretation to really work with, whereas Mars, we have 5,000 years to go back on. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Yes. No, you're right. That's a great point. Mars encompasses Pluto. There's no doubt about that. All the things that I say Pluto rules, Mars rules, but to a lesser degree and not entirely. So you have Mars, yes, being around for 5,000 years, but what was your name again? Tim, right?
Yes, sir.
Tim the Enchanter. So Tim, the difference would be that we didn't know. Now, the Sumerians knew. I kind of brought that up earlier. The Sumerians had a conception of more than 10 planets in the solar system, and Earth wasn't one of them. The other way to look at this is, yes, they didn't see Pluto because you do need a telescope, not even just a telescope. You need it to pass in front of something else before you can perceive it. It doesn't emit its own light. It's like a negative body, right? You have to see it pass in front of something else to know that it was even there. So it is hard to see, but this is Pluto we're talking about, deepest, darkest, farthest removed, out of, where the sun never shines. Pluto rules those things. So that does, if anything, prop Pluto up. But I'd say that's not true that Pluto wasn't there for 5,000 years. Pluto as a god was there. Hades was there. Anubis was there. The gods and the planets are one and the same. Just because we were missing Pluto, the astral body. And I would argue that alchemists and secret astronomers knew it was always there. NASA's just claiming a monopoly on naming planets and discovering planets. I think Pluto's been around for a long time. I think you are, if anyone's biting on NASA's hook here, it might be you, thinking that NASA's revealed Pluto to us. I think it's always been here. I think that where Pluto was absent in astronomy, it was present in mythology. Why is it that Pluto, Anubis, all these things have a concrete meaning in all these cultures? Is it just a concept that got passed around, or is there truly, like I believe, an astral body that ties it all together, that holds that objective meaning through cultures? What do you think?
Those are good points, and Santos makes that same equation to Pluto's essentially being Hades, the underworld. Uranus is essentially the firmament, the crystalline kingdom, right? But to answer your earlier question directly, what connection does Scorpio have to the underworld with the absence of Pluto? I would say that Mars, Mars rules Aries, the first sign, and if you thirst for life like an Aryan, you would necessarily thirst for death, because that which lives must die, that which rises must set. And war begets the death that is associated with Scorpio. So that's Aryan there. And again, I see where you're coming from with the octaves. It all makes sense. And I definitely think that we live in a world of octaves. But I don't know, Pluto just doesn't pass the sniff test for me. You say it so well that, modern astrology is tainted with these, blue-haired fat baristas, when it's really, a gentleman's science or a lady's science. And now with Pluto, everybody has a stellium in their chart. Everyone's like, oh, look at this. I've got Pluto here. I have 5 planets. Whereas back in the day, before these, newer planets came into astrology, it was more about aspects. So I'll stop. Sorry.
Do you consider yourself like a competent astrologer?
Passable.
Okay.
Somewhat.
Okay. I would like for you to go find all the birth charts of celebrities who have Scorpio conjunct Sun or Scorpio ascendant. And you tell me if we're just making stuff up. You tell me if there's an objective meaning and objective identity to having Pluto on the ascendant, having Pluto on Pluto rising, Pluto on the ascendant, or Pluto conjunct the Sun. This effect is greater than Sun conjunct Lilith or Sun conjunct some lesser astral body. This is, you'll feel a planet. Kurt Cobain, I believe, had Pluto rising or Pluto on his ascendant. I mean, he had his head blown off, right? Whether it was someone else, conspiracy, wife, himself, whatever. You're talking about having sudden death, sudden extreme death broadcast onto someone's identity. And you see that a lot. So there's a lot of Plutonians out there that are not simply Martians. And I think that you should open yourself up to seeing this. It's a whole nother character in the zodiac that comes through, not just in Scorpios, but in Pisces. I would ask you this: what differentiates what's his name? Johnny Knoxville from your everyday Pisces? He's a Plutonian. There's no Mars. You see what I mean? That's kind of like a checkmate to the Mars replacing Pluto theory, is that there's not a martial type in Pisces, but there's clearly, only if you're ignoring it can you miss the Plutonian type in Pisces. Johnny Knoxville being an example. Kurt Cobain could be an example. He's more of a typical Pisces, but Johnny Knoxville is that explosive, Plutonian Pisces that is out of nowhere, extreme. That's a Plutonian archetype. And I don't see that coming from Mars. Mars can't just sneak into Pisces.
And what is it that makes him a Plutonian Pisces? Is that his rising you're talking about? Or is
No, he's
dodecahedron?
he's a Pluto, but he's not a Jupiterian. He's not a Neptunian. He's not a Venusian. He's Plutonian. It's not. He doesn't have Pluto. He might. I haven't checked. He might have Pluto conjunct his Sun, Pluto on the ascendant. I'm not saying he does, but he's a Pisces, and Pisces has 4 planets at play. That's what I started off with. Was all the water signs have the most rulerships. Cancer has at least 3. Scorpio has at least 3. I'd say 4, and Pisces has 4. This is why Scorpio and Pisces, they're not always the same. You know, you can meet 4 Pisces and they're 4 completely different Pisces. There's 4 whole planetary types that shine through. So to quote the same book you brought up, the planetary type often trumps the sun sign and ascendant. Meaning, if I'm a Pisces, but I have Mars right on my ascendant, you're going to be way different than every other Pisces, regardless of moon sign and ascendant. Mars on the ascendant will override almost everything. And in general principles of astrology, Crowley talks about guessing people's signs and how when you try to guess for sun sign, you'll usually be wrong because of a planet on the ascendant or planet conjunct sun, and you're missing the planetary type. So it's not necessarily that you need a planet on the ascendant, but Pluto can be one of 4 types, or sorry, Pisces can be one of 4 types, and Scorpios can be one of 3 types, and Plutonian's one of them. So
Right on, man. Those are good points. You know, I hadn't read anything that said that there were multiple rulers of those watery signs, but you know, I'm still learning. I'm still getting through it and everything, so I appreciate that.
well,
Yeah, go ahead.
Cancer is, when I say rulership means just a planet that's not a planet that's involved with the sign that loans its characteristics. Remember, a zodiac sign is nothing. A zodiac sign is nothing. No character, no flavor, no nothing. All it is a place for planetary energy to sit and reside permanently. The zodiac signs only get their flavor, their attributes from the planets. So Cancer is ruled by the moon, generally. That's, you know, the most overt. But then Jupiter exalts. Jupiter exalts in Cancer. All astrologers know that. So it's 2 planets. And then you have, many people believe Neptune exalts in Cancer too. That's the association with the seas and the ocean. And then some people say that there's a fourth planet there, that either exalts or is in a good state in Cancer. Then Scorpio has Mars, Pluto, Uranus exalts in Scorpio. Uranus exalts in Scorpio. This is where Scorpio gets its association with urine and feces. Uranus exalts in Scorpio. Urine, anus, Scorpio. And then and again, both those signs have a 4th planet that people like to put in there, but I won't even bring it up because I can't. I'm not going to bring it up because I can't provide you all the etymological links, which in my eyes prove it. You know what I mean? But Pluto's proven in my eyes. You know, Pisces is the feet, the floor. Fla words, PL words, fla, those go back to Pluto. To be on the floor, right? Flowering, Persephone, pushing daisies from beneath. You know, you can't take Pisces out. You can't take Pluto out of this. You just can't.
I mean, wouldn't floor be more associated with Pisces, though?
It is associated with Pisces, but why does it have an FL word? Pluto, the floor, the plumber, the flounder, at the bottom, very bottom.
Yeah, it works.
That's okay.
It works.
I'm just
No, you're good, bro.
whatever.
I'm so suspicious of all the newer planets just because
Well,
that's
here,
like when
you're
all the globe shit came around,
that's okay. No, see, listen, you can use the other planets and you're not going to get sucked into the globy, nonsense. Those planets do exist. Okay? They do exist. They just don't emit their own light. Right? Would you say that Chiron doesn't exist? I mean, Chiron has such an objective meaning. You can see it in a chart, you can feel it in a chart. Just because you can't see it with a telescope every night doesn't mean it's non-existent.
I mean, fair. Chiron's one that it definitely checks out, but also, again, these things. I feel like astrologers, like Egyptians, like thousands of years ago, were better than we are at astrology. You know what I mean?
And they
That's
probably
just
knew
where I
Pluto was,
come from. What's up with that? Sorry.
and they probably knew Pluto was there. The Sumerian.
If they did, that's
Brandon,
great.
Brandon, can we pull up the picture of the Sumerian solar system, please? Sumerian solar system. Please. Tim, these are good ones, man. You know what you'd consider yourself? Yeah, or someone would consider you a Hellenic astrologer. I don't know what house system you like to use. Do you like to use equal house?
Placidus. I use Placidus.
Okay, well, if you used equal, you would be a Hellenic astrologer. Hellenic astrologers only use 7, and they only use equal house. I might be wrong on that. I might be screwing that up, but Hellenic astrologers are very simple. It's almost like you could call it naked eye astrology. It's the 7 planets you can see, and the 12 houses that never move, never bend. And if you're near the tropics, you can get away with that. The Placidus system adjusts for latitude and longitude, so the houses shrink and stuff. But you're espousing a traditionally Hellenistic astrology view, which is only the visible planets matter. And honestly, you can't go wrong with that. You can't go wrong with that because the other ones are more subtle. I just think that there's more colors there's more than 7 colors. There's 12, there's 12 signs of the zodiac, and their flavors all different. And it's not just from the 7 signs of the zodiac. Mercury, Virgo is different from Gemini for some reason. They have the same rulership, but they're clearly different. Mars and Scorpio is even a better example.
Right on, and I appreciate all that, man. And yeah, Hellenic astrology is definitely more where I lean to. I definitely go more with the old school, only because I got into astrology after Shape of the Earth type stuff, because that's what's so crazy, man. Like, more flat earthers need to get into it. Do you mind if we talk about flat Earth? Is that cool?
Totally, always cool.
Because like, once you see that like the stars aren't what they say they are, like the planets aren't rocks, man, how does that not change everything? You know what I mean? And then when you start studying this stuff, it's just mind-blowing, man. And you helped a lot with that, so thank you. And people should follow you on Patreon and subscribe. I do. Put your money where your oranges are, bitches.
Right.
Sorry.
That's okay. Appreciate it. Here, man, can you see the screen in front of you?
Yeah, I see it. Looks like hieroglyphics, and looks like I see it. We see numbers and stuff. We see it.
Yeah. So we've got the Sumerian or ancient Mesopotamian solar system on here. Now, Zechariah Stitchin and a lot of the other, short sniffers over at NASA would like you to think that this is a heliocentric solar system. I don't think that's true at all. I think they're just in order of size, and the sun is the biggest and the most important. So the sun's in the middle and it's biggest. That could also be Saturn for all we know, the hexagon, or hexagram. But up in the top there, you see 10 to 12 planets. 12 planets, it seems like. Some people have said, oh, well, those some could be moons, some could be this, whatever. There's the gods. That's the god of agriculture handing the scythe or the plow to some of the earliest Sumerians, Mesopotamians. Like, this is considered one of the earliest pieces of artwork ever. And it's got more than 10 planets in the solar system, 12. Now, I don't think they're counting the Earth. So that leaves us one planet or one heavenly body with each sign of the zodiac. And it's not, but yeah, whatever. You ever seen that? You ever considered that they
No, I
might have known?
haven't. But I haven't considered it, but now that I'm seeing it, you know what it could be? Rahu and Ketu, the north and south nodes, and then boom, now we have our 12 with the other three. Because when you mentioned that they were negatives, that you can't see them unless they pass over something, it's like, okay, then it's like very eclipse-like in my estimation, right? So if they function like the nodes, that would be very interesting. And then that would be the 12, theoretically.
Yeah, it could be. It could be Lilith. It could be Chiron. It could be. I've seen people say, whatever. Lots of astrologers take those heavenly bodies and place them with rulerships in the zodiac. And if the etymology and the mythology supports it, I think it's case closed. If you have to do a lot of stretching and linking things that don't really match up, then I think it's more of a question mark. But for me, the etymology and the mythology, the astro-theology all checks out for Pluto and Scorpio and Pisces. But like I said, you can't go wrong if you're ignoring Scorpio, Uranus, and Neptune. You don't need them to be a good astrologer. You definitely don't need them. But yeah, it just pinpoints it a little better. And I think that they do have objective meanings. And was it you who commented that you don't know if Neptune rules the psyche?
No, that was someone else.
That was someone else. Well, I'd like to have that conversation too, because the etymology supports that too. Neptune, psyche, psychology, Pisces. But
yeah, you get out it with the Pisces and the PS words for sure. So how does Neptune? Because if Pisces is psychic, right? So where does Neptune fit in etymologically?
Well, Neptune, that's a good question. Neptune is the Roman name, right? Or the Latin, the Roman name. If we just go to the Greek, you see the source of all those silent P words. Poseidon. Poseidon is Neptune. Psyche. Psychedelic.
Okay, see, that makes more sense then. Yeah.
Poseidon is Neptune. They're the same thing. But if you think of things syncing up, to sync, that's also that's either a Pisces word or a Cancer word, but really it's a Neptunian word, to be in sync, right?
Yeah, well, and like you were talking. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Or if you're in tune. So Neptune rules to be in sync, like a sink, faucet with water sign, or it's Neptune, you're in tune. Sync, in tune, psych. I'll go back to Neptune. Poseidon.
Yeah, and if you have those grand symphonies that are allegedly ruled by Neptune, they must be in sync to have those symphonies, right? So yeah, that fits.
Yeah, well, symbols and symbols too. Cymbals and symbols, right? Like a drummer's cymbals and symbolism. Whatever. Here, Tim, man, these are good questions. Good topics. People. That's a raging debate in astrology for sure. Pluto, Uranus, Neptune. But I'm a believer, and I hope you'll give Pluto a chance. But I got to bring in some of these other people. But good topics, man. You have a good night.
Thanks for your time, Doctor. Or Owen
Thank
Vrilson.
you, Tim. Owen Vrilson. Yeah, you're welcome. Peace. We got Perry is up next. So Perry, make sure your audio is all squared away. How you doing, man?
Hey, what's up?
How are we feeling? Chilling.
What's up, Doc? Cheers from Florida. I'm taking a vacation right now, and it's beautiful over here, I gotta say.
Nice.
Just some personal questions, I guess, as a Sagittarius with Scorpio as my rising sign. I'm curious to know, because we're talking about Scorpio being one of the more indulgent regarding vice signs. What do you smoke? Do you drink? Do you play video games? What are some vices that you would consider, your personal recommendations as a doctor?
Oh, like what are my vices?
Yeah, what's your brand of cigarettes, or what kind of drink would you get at
Sure.
the bar, kind of thing?
Right. Well, yeah, I'm a Scorpio, which rules. I'm November 23rd, so first day of Sagittarius, but it's the last day of Scorpio. So, I have never had like an addictive personality. I guess I don't know. Here, we're gonna go deep on this. I guess my dad was an addict, was a drinker. Okay, my dad's dead. He's gone. He drank a lot. So I never drank, not once. Never been
Jeez,
never been drunk a
congrats.
single never been drunk a single time in my life. So if anyone ever wants to pat me on the back or anything, whatever, dare I say I'm in pretty good shape for 27. I'm okay minded for not going to college, and okay, I'm doing okay. Okay. Dare I say I'm a little smart. If anyone ever wants to pat me on the back for any of that, I always point to no alcohol. I never drank. My brother never drank. My brother and I are miles ahead of our friends who are our same age. We never drank. They spent 5 years drinking their life away. I never drank. If anyone thinks I'm better than them, just point to that alone. Just
Hey, you're the
alcohol.
doctor here. You're the doc.
That's the worst thing you could ever put in your body. Now, I hate meat. I hate flesh. I'll do anything to convince everyone on earth to not eat flesh. But my God, I would rather fill my home with 1,000 barbecue fingered flesh, blood dripping flesh addicts than a single drinker. I would rather be condemned to a life of flesh eating than to have a single sip of alcohol. Alcohol is not just going to slow you down, it works against you. So, alcohol, evil. I learned that lesson better than anybody on earth ever will. Alcohol is evil. If you drink, you're not my friend. Okay? You're not on the side of light. You're not on the side of life. Nobody but the fucking devil would ever make you open your mouth and put in something that tastes like rubbing alcohol. Every kid knows that first moment you took a sip of your mom's alcohol by accident in the glass that was on the counter and you spit it out. And it's the worst thing you ever experienced. Then 10 years later, someone tells you it's good. Start drinking. Whatever. I could go on a rant all night about drinking. Drinking is so stupid. So stupid. The way people act, you have embarrassed yourself for generations. The sperm swimming in your balls are fucked in the head because you've been drinking. Not you, anybody out there. Right?
No,
Okay.
I'm definitely behind you on
Okay.
this.
I had to be IVF'd because my dad's, was probably infertile from drinking. I don't know what it was, but my dad had a problem having kids. And drinking was the worst thing that ever happened to him. And whatever. You asked a lighthearted question. Alcohol is terrible, and I would never, ever order a drink at a bar. Ever. Ever. Okay? Even if it meant life or death. Never going to drink alcohol.
What about smoking or vapes or
Hell yeah.
video game?
Well, I mean, smoke weed every day, man. Hell yeah. Love weed. Weed is everything I just said about alcohol. You can flip it, make the opposite true, and that's marijuana. Marijuana is nurturing. It's motherly. It loves you. Okay. You can go try an overdose on it. Go try to overdose on marijuana. I bet you can't. I bet you can't.
Oh, I've
You
tried.
you can abuse it as hard as you can abuse anything, and you'll get a headache at worst. You'll get, a stomach ache at worst. It is such a lighthearted joke. It's such a alcohol is the nectar of alcohol is the nectar of nihilists. Marijuana is the nectar of spiritualists. Okay? Marijuana is the nectar of poets, artists, musicians, great thinkers. Motley Crue is your alcohol band, right?
Yeah.
We all know what alcohol bands sound like. And all great bands do good in spite of alcohol. But they need weed. Not always, but they do a really good with it. And weed, again, it doesn't make you enlightened. It doesn't just fix your life for you. It doesn't do things that people want it to do. But it is like mankind was given marijuana at the same time and for the same reason that they were given cannabis. Canines, cannabis. Canine, cannabis. It was a gift from the gods. It was a lesson from the gods. The dog was a lesson to man. It was a gift to man, and it was a lesson. How you treat the dog, how a dog treats you, is how you should treat God. Dog, God. That's the beauty of the English language. Dog, God. Flip that word. What's the inflection point between those two words? Us. A dog serves you. Blind service, blind faith. That's how we should serve God. Okay. Cannabis helps that. Cannabis helps all of that. Cannabis helps you serve God. It helps you dedicate yourself to things you want to do. Makes it real hard to dedicate yourself to things you don't want to do. That's a bad side of weed. Yeah. If you want to live a fake life or do something you hate, cannabis is not for you. Cannabis is like a truth serum. You know what I mean? You're going to be murmuring under your breath at your job. I fucking hate this place. It's so I like weed. Some people, it slows them down. Maybe it slows me down a little bit. Maybe I lose my train of thought here and there. But I'm sharp as a tack when it matters. And my friends who don't smoke weed, my brother used to smoke weed. He doesn't smoke anymore. But if you exclude him, my friends who smoke weed are almost always smarter than my friends who don't. My friends who drink alcohol are embarrassing to be around. When they open their mouths, it's like, did you pass 5th grade? It's like you have to cringe. Drinkers have a different way of expressing themselves. Drinkers keep things very low, keep things very palatable, right? Bar talk, right? Marijuana people, there's bad marijuana users. There's ugly marijuana users. People who do, all these rappers and shit. Whatever. I'm drawing on. I like weed. I like Coca-Cola. I drink Coca-Cola. I drink the real stuff too. Not just the Mexican. For maybe 5 or maybe even 7 years. For like 7 years, I did no soda at all. I was a hardcore vegan, and I did no soda. 5 years.
Wow.
No soda. But I would do a Mexican Coke here and there, right? I was like, it's got the cane sugar. Nah, it's got the, doesn't have as much bad stuff in it. Okay, well, then I started thinking, then I had a revelation. Mexican Coke has better cane sugar. Sugar's good for you, okay. But where's the water coming from? Mexico? Okay, I'll take the fucking American Coke. I don't care if the sweetener's better. You're talking about a bottle of Mexican water? That's what you're talking about? I'll go with the regular. I'll go with the American one. Okay. But so I went back to drinking Coca-Cola because I found out how good for you it is. I'd fallen into people are probably rolling their eyes right now, right? But I fell into the propaganda. Every fast food, every fucking Michelle Obama initiative was blaming Coca-Cola like they're the fucking boogeyman. Like they're the, end all be all of evil corporations. Well, then I found out what's in Coca-Cola. What's in Coca-Cola? One of the main ingredients, essential oil of lavender. Essential oil of citrus, neroli oil. That brew is very medicinal. The sweetener is what people have an issue with. And then there's another acid in there. Was it phosphoric acid? People like to use the drain example. Oh, that stuff would clean a drain. How could you ever drink it? Well, nothing but clean pipes down here. Okay, guys. Okay, nothing, no blockages over here, right? Clean pipes. So Coke is good for you. Billionaires, is it bad for you in some areas? It might be. Okay. But is it good for you? It's definitely good for you. It's definitely good for the brain. Whether that'll catch up with you down the line, we're going to find out. I live a pretty holistic lifestyle. Pretty much the only things I drink is orange juice every morning. It's the first thing that hits my stomach. And then water. And then Coca-Cola. And lemonade. That's almost all I drink. I don't like Dr. Pepper. I don't do Pepsi. Pepsi's GMO'd. You don't want Pepsi. Coca-Cola is GMO'd free. They're not going to tell you that in fucking, nutrition class, are they? They're not going to tell you that in conspiracy theorist 101 school, that Coca-Cola has redeeming qualities. It's bottled in the Garden of Eden. It's bottled with fucking, Florida spring water some of the time. It's a continuation of the black drink used by Native Americans. Appalachia Coca-Cola, whatever. So I like Coca-Cola. That's a vice, but I don't think it's necessarily a vice. You look at all the high-functioning people who love Coca-Cola. There's something to it. There's something in there that's genius syrup. I can't explain it, but it's good for the brain. Even Bill Gates and those people, they just love Coca-Cola. There's something about it. It's not the GMOs. It's GMO free. Coca-Cola company goes to great lengths to keep Coke GMO free. Pepsi doesn't give a flying fuck. Yeah, it's just totally GMO'd. Yeah, they'll just tell you right to your face. And Pepsi is for black people. Pepsi is for, the restaurant downtown that, certain people don't go to. Pepsi is like the Illuminati soda, the one has none of the redeeming qualities, the one that's bad for you. But yeah,
Makes me think of that like Michael Jackson Pepsi commercial, or that kind of that era of commercialism, so to speak. What about tattoos? Do you have any tattoos, or would you ever get one?
I don't have any tattoos. I have one like little tiny scribbled like stick and poke thing that's totally gone. It's like faded. These two girls gave me a stick and poke tattoo like 10 years ago. It's gone now. But what are my vices? I like weed. I recently got into cigars. I recently started drinking Coca-Cola again. Like a year ago, not recently, but a year ago. And then I like girls. Definitely not gay. Definitely not gay. Believe it or not, people. But I've always had girlfriends, so I'm not definitely not a promiscuous person. Always had long time girlfriends, but I like women, hot girls more than I like food or drugs or, money. Definitely not money for me. Like I almost like being I'm a very frugal guy. But
Well, that's all I
Right.
really had to say. Thanks for your honesty, and thanks for taking my call.
What's your advice,
Oh,
dude? Okay, you're not off the hook.
oh my
You're not off
God,
the
I'm
hook.
smoking. I'm smoking cigarettes again.
That's okay.
Smoking weed with my cigarettes is my main vice, I'd say.
Right.
But coming to Florida on my vacation, I'm not allowed to. I'm a Canadian citizen, so I'm not allowed to bring any of that stuff with me. So this week or so has been like a detox for me,
Right.
which is nice. Anyway, I got to go take care of my dogs that you mentioned it. So cheers and prayers.
You're welcome, man. Thanks for calling in.
Have a good one.
Adios. Peace. Appreciate it. Boffy, we got Boffy in here. What's up? Yo, yo. How you doing?
You hear me?
Yes, chilling.
Nice. Yeah, good to talk to you.
Where are you
So
at?
I'm up here in Jacksonville.
Toads.
Yeah, this is like third, fourth time calling in. I'm losing count.
Shall ya?
Man, I really love that Pluto question earlier. That was, and your answers were really good. That was very. I want to look into more science now on Pluto too. So I'm brainstorming on things. A Scorpio as well. So
Oh yeah.
along with some insight. I don't know. I'm very leveled out. I feel like, family and kids and stuff. But
Right.
when I think back in my childhood, like I was like the edgiest little kid of like my favorite letter was X, favorite number was 13.
Right.
Oh my gosh, when fucking Shadow the Hedgehog came out, I thought that was the coolest thing when I was a kid. You know what I mean? Like it was just I loved edgy things. I'm glad I never got into the emo phase, but I definitely could have gone that way. Um, uh, But one thing, so the question I wanted to kind of ask, and I don't know if I'm shoehorning this in too much, but as I was kind of like thinking about Scorpio, listen to you talk about it, I'm also left-handed, and like some of the characteristics you're talking about, like the charming side of things, but also the talent and stuff. Um, there's the whole vice part of it too, where a lot of left-handed people also a lot of just infamously die younger. Alcoholism, all sorts of things, LGBTQ. Just the list is very long. I didn't know if there was any. I guess it's two questions. Any relation to Scorpio in those types of things? There's a lot of, I guess, left-handed path type stuff. I know that's always
Right.
mentioned. And then I don't know if blanking on the other part of it.
No, that's
But
well
like
here.
I guess the occult as well. I don't know if there's Scorpio is also attached to the occult some, because I know
Yes.
you're also saying like how they don't look into conspiracies as much either, but I also didn't know if they're more of the occult type.
Yes. Yeah. No, that's perfect. You hit the nail on the head. That was I forgot to include that. You're absolutely right. That Scorpio is into the occult, not necessarily conspiracy theories. They're into the occult. So occult can be anything. People hear occult and they usually think esoteric mysticism, Occult can mean uh anything can be occult, hidden, removed, harder to find, tucked away from society. So Scorpio enjoys those things that are occult in general, anything that's occulted or obscured. But then metaphysics, yes. Scorpio rules the eighth house. The eighth house is seen as not necessarily metaphysical aptitude, but occult or esoteric aptitude. I've got 3 planets in the third house. Santos Bonacci has 3 or 4 planets in the eighth house. JFK had 3 planets in the eighth house or 4 planets in the eighth house. So penetrating mysteries is done in the eighth house for sure. Penetrating anything, but to go deeper and deeper into a topic is ruled by Scorpio too. And so they definitely can be conspiracy theorists. I just meant more like conspiracy theory. When I tell a Scorpio about like, dude, did you know that Bushes hired these people to go kill these people. It's like they're like, yeah, okay, whatever. Like that doesn't get them. Scorpios are they satisfy that drama, that intensity elsewhere. That's the only distinction I would make. So totally, they can be conspiracy theorists, but they're typically more gifted with things like clairvoyance. They can be very dream interpreters, palm readers. They like detail too. That's a Scorpio word, detail. Scorpio rules the bikini line, like I said, so it also rules the tailbone and the tail. And detail, right? To analyze. Analyze, okay? Scorpio, very analytical, detail oriented. So that type of Scorpios are very often, they're like the kids who like knew everything about baseball cards, knew every single stat on every single player, knew every single, detail analysts, sports analysts, media analysts. They just love details. They love getting into the minutia of things. And metaphysics is great for that. Astrology is great for that. To your point about occult, the 8th house, October, yes. Oculus, to look. We were talking about Scorpios and their gaze and their stare. Scorpio also rules not necessarily eyes in general, but vision, especially like the symbolism of vision. Seeing more than what's there. The occult, oculists, like we were talking earlier about occupations and having like Freemasonry being the guild of bricklayers that wove metaphysics into it. Oculists used to do the same thing, and oculists, their whole double speak or allegory symbolism was like, we're going to help you see again. Masons, it's like, we're going to build you back up, or we're going to entomb you, build a building around you. They have all these different practical practices that turn into allegories. Oculists had the same thing. They were the eye doctors, in glasses. They'd made monocles. They made before lens crafters, 500 years ago, you had an oculist who'd specialize in the eye. And that was one of the occupations that was particularly drenched in occult, symbolism, like used by secret societies. And I think they were the one neck and neck with the Masons. The oculists were one of the last ones where Masonry is almost like the only occupation that has that still left with it. Bricklaying, they don't really bricklay anymore. But 500 years ago, that was almost every guild, almost every career had some initiatory process behind it like that. But
Benjamin Franklin, I'm thinking of. I don't know, he was Freemason, but also they say he invented the glasses. Who knows?
Oh, right. Yeah. Well, what would you say about Scorpios? What do you think I got wrong? What did I leave out?
No. I mean, I feel like there's a lot of things that are spot on, but I guess I'm always interested in like the villainy side of it, of like some of the meaning of that, like the whole Judas part of it. And I also wanted to ask you about just like, once again, it's left-handed path.
Oh, yes.
And I was interested on like, the astrological, if there's anything behind it, because they say there's no real genetic thing. They think that like there's a slight genetic, like if you have two left-handed people, it's like just slightly more higher chance you have a left-handed person. But they say it's something more of like a utero type thing. It might be. So science says, but I was wondering about like what astrology, if there's anything that you have run into about astrology with left-handed, because it also just seems to be such a negative I mean, I think, nowadays is much more like, it's like Obama, it's very cool, very good speakers. And obviously there's a lot of positives that come with being left-handed. I'm also interested of like, if there's any astrology behind some of that.
Sure. Well, 100%. I can't, just like the genetics, I can't say that there's a proven link between Scorpio, and I would include Scorpio, Capricorn, Aries, and Libra you could throw in there too. But Aries, Scorpio, Capricorn, Libra, Aries. Why those four? They're not evil. They're not, immoral. They're not suffering. They're not bad or anything. The word I would choose is deviant. The four deviant signs of the zodiac. Why? Because they either have a rulership through Saturn or Mars. So Scorpio and Aries ruled by Mars and Pluto. And then Saturn rules Capricorn, and it exalts in Libra. So those are the Saturnian signs, the satanic signs, right? And the villain element, Scorpio is a nighttime sign. Here, so Libra rules the descent into the fall, or the fall of man, or the fallen state, but it's not a dark sign. It's actually it's a masculine sign. It's a positive sign. So it rules that big shift into the darkness of night, but it's not until Scorpio that you have the first actual dark nocturnal sign. That's the first dark sign that rules the second half of the zodiac. But in terms of like being deviant or having this association with like superstitions, like left-handed, the number 13, this all goes back to Halloween, right? There's a deviant element. Christianity would like it to go this way, but it's deviant, not necessarily evil, but you could interpret it as that. With left-handed, another thing that gets associated with those signs is red-headedness, especially Capricorn. And you'd include Aquarius too, but Aries, Scorpio, Capricorn, I would wager have a higher amount of redheadedness too, for the same reason. A little bit more of like a stepchild, redheaded stepchild, left-handed, unlucky, born on a leap year. That would tell you that you're a Pisces or leap year would be Pisces, but something like that, where like you're, a black sheep type of personality. And being left-handed in Scorpio, man, I'd have to think about that. But I know, I really just know like the common basic left hand, mystic traits. Like, well, here's one. Make sure you don't do hard work with your left hand. Have you ever heard this, that lefties die sooner because they wear out? They don't know why, but I've heard like mystics talk about why. You do heavy lifting with both your hands. If you're a righty, you're usually doing a lot of heavy lifting with your right hand. And with a lefty, I guess they're heavy lifting with their left hand. Well, I don't view handedness like that. I think that your right hand has objective, fixed meaning, and your left hand has a fixed meaning and task too, right? Your right hand gives, your left hand receives, right? In some parts of the world, they only go to the bathroom with the left hand, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of like, that's the private hand, you don't give that to the rest of the world. So some of the superstition would be that if you're using your left hand for certain things, you wouldn't want to shake hands with people or use that for your primary hand. I don't really think that's too big of an issue. I think you can swap that, but what you can't swap, what you can't switch, what you can't help is the fact that your heart is closer to the left side. maybe you've done all those Eric Dubé breathing exercises, and you've recentered your heart. Go look up that video, guys, if you haven't seen Eric Dubé breathing to push his heart into the middle of his sternum instead of being off to one side. Very trippy. You can do that.
That's wild.
You can do that, by the way. But he can push his heart closer to the middle, or did it over time, or he was naturally born like that. But you can see his heart in the middle. But for most of us, it's over to the left side. If I would say that if you are doing heavy lifting with the left hand, that's what's going to kill you quicker. That your right hand, men are designed to hold the shield in the left hand and the arm and the sword in the right. You know what I mean? Like you can't fit whatever you are, righty lefty, that can't matter when you come up to the shield wall. Right? So as a man, you have that amount is ingrained in you, where the right side does more of the heavy work, the left side should do more of the delicate work, or receiving things with the left side. And if you're bringing in the groceries from the car, try and load up the right arm, not the left arm.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because
that's interesting. And lefties are actually a little bit usually more balanced because they have to do a lot of right-handed activities. So many times they're already forced into certain things. So usually they are a little bit more balanced. But that is interesting that you say that, like, that would take some time off your life there. Oh, it's also such a bargain because it helps in sports so much to be left-handed. I will say there's so many advantages to being left-handed, and then there's the disadvantages. It just feels like such a trade-off in so many ways.
Right. Well, I think left-handed is cool. I think having left hand, I definitely believe in like the magical powers of being left-handed. Like they're definitely more artistic. If you look at musicians, like famous musicians, they're like 50-50 right-handed, left-handed, whereas the general population is, what is it, 1 in 10, right? 1 in 10 is left-handed. When you go to high performing artists, music artists, it's pretty much 50-50 lefties, righties. Lefties have a way higher chance of making it as a professional entertainer. Jimi Hendrix.
Like there's like a level of chaos to it. Like Hendrix, like I don't know if you believe the story of how he died or whatever. You know what I mean? Like there's like this level of chaos or something, like they are grasping at something that's so hard to get at, and then if they just lose a little bit of control, they just wipe out.
Yeah, that is true. Scorpio can be like the meteor, or like an asteroid, or like a volcano, for sure. Like when they explode, like there's no picking up the pieces. It's Scorpios are very terminal. They love to see things end. They love to, whether that's killing something, or whether that's being a closer, closing deals, or whether that's like the Leonardo DiCaprio, Wolf of Wall Street. Like, it's they're very terminal. Scorpios like to see things to an end. Scorpios love. We have a reader here, like a psychic reader. Here is a Scorpio, of course. Scorpios, they do the best for that. Talking to the dead, seeing through walls, stuff like that. Scorpios have a gift for that. But she, what was I gonna say? What were we talking about?
Left-handed.
Okay.
Scorpios.
Oh yes, here. Well, I forget what I was gonna say, but lefties. If you look at the 27 Club, it's like mostly lefties. Like the Janis Joplin, Jimi Hendrix, Jim Morrison, Kurt Cobain. Yeah. Here, was Kurt Cobain left-handed?
Well, it's almost sounds like the deal with the devil or something, like this sort of left-handed path type. Like I wonder where all these expressions come from, of how common it was just to see this repeated throughout history of like, oh well, there's that little artsy kid. Look, he's playing with his left hand, or you know what I mean? Like I wonder how often that was such a thing.
Yeah.
And then
Totally.
how much of that got into the occult, and you know what I mean? Who knows how much of that is something there? I don't know if they even fish for that type of thing, or who knows?
Kurt Cobain was left-handed.
And then and then it's always weird because you don't know what to question the narrative on that, if that was like a ritualistic sort of thing. Because once again, the occult, how much I look into all those things and I question how much, was that a celebrity death, a real thing, or what was that for? You know what I mean? So it's very hard to even tell the truth from the lies on any of that.
Mm-hmm. Apparently, Janis Joplin was left-handed too.
Mm.
Yeah, a lot of the 27 Club was left-handed, and they also had the white lighter. The white lighter superstitions also associated with the left
I'm not
hand.
familiar with that.
27 Club. Oh yeah, look it up. Well, here, man, I'm gonna wrap it up. I gotta go home. I hope we talked enough about Scorpio. Oh, terminal.
No.
This is what I was gonna say about Scorpios are very terminal. Our reader here, she's also a death doula, or like a death broker. She's like a death counselor. Like you're having a baby, you have like a midwife or someone help, a doula, whatever they call them. Well, Scorpios love working with the dying, working with the dead. Or maybe they don't love it, but they're best suited. It won't affect them to the same degree. If a cancer can't see their loved one, slowly wither away. That would just ruin them. Pisces, same. With Scorpio, it's like no, they'll see it through till the end. Scorpios, they secretly want to see everyone die. Scorpio, just kidding. I'm only teasing. But Scorpios are very terminal and very fatalistic. They can struggle with being nihilistic, or thinking things are futile, or thinking things are coming to an end, thinking things are always coming to an end. Expecting bad news. Scorpios can sometimes have a darker outlook, have a skeptical outlook on life. Not always. I know lots of cheery, warm Scorpios, but it's a trend.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thanks, Buffy.
Yeah,
Appreciate
dude. Thanks for taking my call and staying up so late tonight, man.
You're welcome, dude. Peace. You have a good night. We've got a couple other people in here that I didn't get to. Sorry about that. Call in sometime soon. We'll get you in here. If you're first, we'll get you in. If you're quick, early bird gets the worm. Here. And shout out to Brandon in the chat, guys. Drop a little birthday wish to Brandon behind the scenes. We have a tip from Jyotish Blade. Oh, I have Jyotish astrologer supporters, viewers. Jyotish Blade, $5. Virgo is the dark side of Mercury. Gemini is the light side. Yes, that's right. You're right. Longo, admit that you are better than Santos Bonacci. That's tough, man. I don't know if anyone's better than Santos Bonacci at this stuff, like the linguistics. Santos speaks, 7 languages? And yeah, he's older. He's older than me, so I've got time to try and catch up. But Santos is my greatest teacher. I've never met him. We've talked one time online, but I have a lot of respect for him. He's the greatest truther there's ever been. People say, oh, Jordan Maxwell, Bill Cooper, Bill Donahue. Nah, none of those people can hold a candle to Santos Bonacci. Santos Bonacci, he's like an angel who came down to earth. He's also a little bit like a demon that came down to earth. He's a feisty little chihuahua. I know he's an Aries, yeah. So he's an Aries, so take it easy on him in those areas. He's feisty, he's fiery, he's hot. He's vindictive. Santos is great. I love Santos. He probably ruined his life by moving to Mexico. I hope he can bounce back from that. I hope he can get out of there. But he probably ruined his life forever by going to Mexico, hanging out with all those people. Santos, he's a saint. He's a saint. We have very few saints here on Earth. He's one of them. Ironically, what did he kill someone? I believe he killed someone. Santos did, but I think it was self-defense. Looks like it was self-defense, and I know he's a good person. I think he's tied up with some stuff, tied up with maybe some substances he shouldn't be messing with. He's hanging out with some just crummy, shitty pieces of shit in Mexico. Just loser, parasitic, dopey little losers that are draining him dry in Mexico. He's got to come back to America. I love Santos. I wish him the best. If he ever wants to come to Florida, he'll get treated like a prince. But he's a very independent guy. So let's see. What Longo, admit that you are better than Santos Bonacci. I'm better than Santos at not drinking. I think he's got a weak spot for drinking. I love not drinking. So I'm better at him. No, fuck. I'm high. Shit. Better than him at that. I'm better at him at sports, probably. Keeping my cool. I'm better than him at. I'm better than Santos at not hanging out with grifters. So there's some things I'm better at. Who knows? No, I'm better than him in the ladies. Better than him in the ladies area too, yeah. Okay, that's it. Since you tipped. Thanks for the $5. Everybody, if you'd like to support, you can go to my Patreon. Thank you, Brandon. I see that. I'm gonna pull that up in a sec. You can go to my Patreon, Old World Florida. No, this is patreon.com/oldworldflorida. Another way you can support, you can go to galloglassbooks.shop and buy a copy of Monad. Go buy a we got another tip here from Jottish Blade, another $5. Who teaches how to read faces to see what zodiac you are? And how can I contact the reader at the store? Santos has a good couple videos on that. I don't know if he's still on YouTube, but he's got a couple videos on reading the face. I think that guy's name, I don't remember. I'm not going to remember his name. No, but there's books on it. Reading the Face, Astrology, Astrological Facial Features. It's true. So go get a copy of Monad. You can also go to Patreon. You can go to themeringaman.com. Use the code Old World Florida, spelt out. Old World Florida, spelt all the way out. Then you can go to Sip Blue. Sip Blue, use the code OWF. And Moringa's a supplement, like a leaf. Very, very good for you, superfood. Sip Blue is butterfly pea flower tea. Single ingredient. Really good for you. And detox, good for the blood. If you're using Chew Blue Chew, get rid of that shit. Get some Sip Blue. Start sipping, quit chewing. And what else we got? There's that's it. That's it for tonight. That's it. Shout out to Brandon behind the scenes. And that's it, everybody. Scorpio. I hope we hit the essential points on that. It's the beginning of Scorpio. That's why we did it. So if you're expecting another one of these, probably have to wait until the beginning of Sagittarius. Okay. Thanks, everybody. Y'all have a good night.